Good day to you. And today we've completed week one of the super wild card weekend and the craziness that is. But today we're going to get some real. Going to get some real going on today. A lot to talk about. Welcome to the program. If you want to get a hold of us, phone line simple 877-867-1670. You know the number. Get a hold of us on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, or at Ben Z. Kenny, producing the program today. Ben Kenny, how you doing? Yeah, I was feeling it. Honestly, I had nothing going on, and I spent some money on some equipment, so I had to try it out anyway. So I thought, you know what, this is great. I don't have to tear stuff down anymore to set stuff up. I can just put the second system up. So that's what I did, and I had fun. That's kind of a cool backdrop, actually, not a bad backdrop. And it was well attended. I was kind of surprised. And normally when I do that, you get maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 people, and then you get a lot of responses, and a lot of people watch it after the fact. But I was really kind of surprised at the amount of people that watched it and the engagement with it last night. And it was over 10,000. So I was pretty happy about that. I was pretty fired up about all that stuff. So cool stuff last night. And for those that didn't know, last night downstairs in the wagon wheel, we did the live from the wagon wheel. I think the idea, though, we did the podcast last night where I just turned on the TV and started smoking a cigar, had a beer, and just went to, went out, and did nothing basically. Just kind of just chattered. So what I did was last night, and I think it's actually a good idea. Maybe we don't do necessarily strictly sports. Maybe we don't do strictly sports. Maybe I just throw out, pick a topic or two or three, and that's what we'll discuss. Theme nights. I thought that was a pretty good idea. If you had to take a theme night, Ben, and say, tonight we're going to do this, if you had to pick one or two, what would it be? What would the theme be?
The farmers coming up,
right?
It's an interesting.
So you would do golf.
No,
you would go into the golf aspect of things. Patrick Reed and the lawsuits, maybe.
Oh my goodness, he's threatening to sue CNN.
He's mad at everybody. He's just an idiot.
But no, I don't know. You can go a lot of different ways with it. I think it's a question of, what are you passionate about? What do you have opinions on? I myself like to talk about air travel, as I've grown to understand.
Stories. Yeah, stories of stuff. But I thought, we'll just throw it out there. So that's what I did last night. So in case you haven't seen it, and I don't know when I'm going to do another one. I don't know, because some people are asking if I would do one tonight. And I don't know if I want to do one tonight. Maybe I will. Well, who knows? But we should do like a theme night. Maybe I'll do it next week. Maybe it'll bode better next week. But what I did is to everybody that showed up, they had this suggestion of theme night. And there is, many comments already that talk about ballparks, over and underrated food, stories, behind the scenes. Okay. Sports nostalgia and or trivia, old movie trivia. Todd said just do a thing called Sports and Stuff. Don says why we tolerate living in Wisconsin with playoff losses and teams that won't spend money. So there was a lot to it. There was a lot to it last night. I like it. But we can do anything. We could do anything. So I thought maybe we'll look into that. So who knows? But that was one of the things we did last night. By the way, you can find us on Facebook. Speaking of live streams, Facebook, go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. YouTube, which we're creeping up on subscriptions. I got a notification that they said, hey, you have almost 3,000 subscribers. We would like to monetize it. And I'm like, whoa, ching, yeah, score, baby. You know how much money I can stand to make on the YouTube channel, Ben?
20 cents?
Take it per week. What they're talking about per week.
$4.
You're close, actually. The estimated is $5.57. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the month, that's $21.50 something cents. $22 almost. Yeah, actually a little over that. But yeah, I was like, oh boy, there you go. That's maybe a wild night out with singles or something like that at the club. So anyway, that happened. Not much there. Twitch TV the same. Find us email thebillmichaels@gmail.com. And then you can always find us on Apple, iTunes, Spotify. You can find us over on Google Podcasts. Always download the app. I had more and more people from all different parts of Wisconsin that have emailed me in the last couple of days that said, hey, we get you here, but I don't get you here. Where can we get you? First of all, get a hold of your local radio stations and say, hey, can you pick up the show? Secondly, you can always download the app, WOZN, The Zone, Madison. Download the app. You can take us anywhere and everywhere. So there you go. Yeah, Jeff says, congratulations on the windfall. I was going to release a statement last night that says, please respect the privacy of me and my family. And then I just realized it's me and Kristen sitting here, and the $20 is probably going to be spent on a 20-pack of beer, and it's pretty much done with it. And then we're back to, begging for money again. So I wanted to let you know that. Oh, my goodness. But we had people from all over watching last night, which was really cool. We had we had a couple of people from Vegas watching, had a person from Arizona. Wanting to know when we're coming out for Super Bowl. Had a guy that was listening to us in Braverton, Florida, which was kind of cool. So all over. Good stuff. Okay, here we go. Today, I'm going to say it, and I'm saying what everybody's thinking, but nobody nationally has had the balls to say. Here we go. You ready for this, Ben? It's an obvious one. Can you guess what it is I'm going to say?
I don't think it is going to refer to Jerry Jones failing to connect on handshakes.
No.
In the booth.
No.
That sucks.
Yeah. No, the words are, Tom Brady, you need to retire. He looked bad last night. You don't want to go out that way. Don't come back and try to prove it all over again. Father Time has grabbed you and thrown you to the ground. That's it. Father Time has grabbed you and thrown you to the ground. You got to go. It's time. I get it that, he didn't have the greatest offensive line, and he didn't have the greatest wide receivers. And, it seemed like they were just ready and poised to run it back. But I had this conversation, and there is nobody a bigger fan of Tom Brady than my girlfriend, Kristen. Nobody. She grew up in the on the West Coast or on the East Coast. She's from Rhode Island. Her dad still has 40-yard line, 10 rows back, season tickets to the Patriots. They've had them since Steve Grogan was a baby. So it's not like they were Johnny come lately. They've had these tickets. It's, all of that. All of that. But even she was like, yeah, it's time for him to go. You don't know what his personal life took. You don't know how much of a major distraction it was this season. Obviously, he had to take time away from training camp I don't know if he was going to repair his marriage or try to save his marriage or go to finalize the end of his marriage. I don't know. I don't want to claim to know. I know there are people out there that are saying you gave up your wife and your kids for this. I think it's unfair because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. He's an incredibly private person when it comes to that stuff. But it's time to go. Tom is still the greatest quarterback to play. Whether it's technically, winner-wise, whatever you want to call it, he's still right there. He's still right there. But I'm calling that sitting here today, and maybe many others are as well. But what I saw last night, especially on the slide tackle, did you see that, Ben? When he wasn't going to tackle the guy from behind, so he slid like he was sliding into second base and tried to kick him down. That was embarrassing.
I did.
That was bad. That's bad look.
That was Mac Jones-esque.
Yes, that's a guy that doesn't want to be hit anymore. So, and that's a guy that knows, hey, I'm 45. I shouldn't be hitting anybody. And if you shouldn't be hitting anybody, you shouldn't be taking hits from anybody. So I'm saying it. I'm calling the shot right here, right now. It's over. Maybe come back and prove me wrong. Not that he knows that I'm saying it, but maybe come back and prove me wrong. But I would rather he's got $375 million waiting for him from Fox to go into the broadcast booth. I think that was it. So, so that's one. My second shot is this. And last night and this morning, I got my hair cut, and I was in this discussion this morning. All the talk is he coming back? Is Rodgers coming back? Will he come back? Do you think he's going to come back? Why would he come back? He shouldn't come back. He should come back. He shouldn't. And finally, I just said, hey, stop. He's coming back. I'm calling that shot too. This whole thing about going away and waiting a couple of months and I'll make my decision. No, you got to know. We all know within a couple of weeks of what you want to do, whether you do or don't. Sean McVay knew right away. I was contemplating it. He was going to walk away. He was going to do this. He was going to do that. The rigors of coaching. Oh my God, I don't know. Then he's out of it a couple of days. He's like, no, I want to come back. I don't want to leave this yet. You know in your gut, right? You don't have to draw it out. You don't have to be dramatic. You don't have to be a diva. You don't have to be a drama queen. Just, you know what you want to do. You know it in your gut, right? So Rodgers comes back. You know why? One, 60 million reasons. Two, which he's going to get paid regardless. So, but two, you cannot leave the field of play that way 3 years in a row. You just can't. You left Lambeau Field 3 straight years on a loss looking bad. And you're better than that. You're still capable. Your legs are still under you. You need to go away in the offseason. You need to work a little bit harder on your legs, but you still have your legs under you. You still can move. He looked old, but he didn't look bad. But he's coming back. And then my next thought on all of this is that I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Goody and everybody knows he's going to be back. The trifecta on the Aaron Rodgers discussion is that you just now had J.J. Watt retire. Do you really want to go? Now, you've got a ring. Watt doesn't. But Watt is beyond loved. Tom Brady is beyond great. Do you really want to share that stage? If he waits one more year to retire, he pretty much stands alone. That weekend. So I can't imagine, although now it's like 3 of the greatest of all time to ever play the game standing up there holding arm in arm, going, mic drop. Okay, maybe you could do that if you want to do it with your buddy Tom, but Tom's going to get all the accolades. You're going to be compared to Tom in every statistical category. While technically you're better, Tom's walking away with his pockets bulging full of rings. Do you really want to do that? So, and I forgot about Aaron Donald. He'll be another one that's going there. I don't think you want to do that. So I think Rodgers, unless, of course, they start calling it the greatest class ever to be inducted into the Hall of Fame and you're a part of it, maybe then that drives the ego, but I don't think he wants to do that. By the way, Tom Brady addressing the media last night because remember, Rodgers waxed nostalgic about what he would miss and named names to, people and pointed them out, where Brady just very graciously said this.
I just want to say thank you guys for everything this year. I really appreciate all your effort, and I know it's hard for you guys too. It's hard for us players to make it through, and you guys got a tough job, and I appreciate all that you guys do to cover us and everyone who watches and is a big fan of the sport. We're very grateful for everyone's support. And, I love this great place to be, and thank you everybody for welcoming me, all you regulars, and just very grateful for the respect, and I hope I gave the same thing back to you guys. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's it. Very graceful, walked off, and that was the end of it. Which, everybody wants to read into it. Oh my God, is he leaving? Is that it? Is he ever going to play here again? Is he going to go someplace else again? Where's he? He's done. Tom, you need to go. And I'm not making fun of him because he is still the greatest quarterback in the history of quarterbacks. Without a doubt. But needs to go. Time to go. Time to go.
Bill, I think a big question is, would Aaron Rodgers want to share the podium, not with Brady or Watt, but with Mason Crosby and Mercedes Lewis? You know,
Right.
You want to be overshadowed by big dog.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the other thing. You know, is it time to cut ties with Mason Crosby? You know, there are some pretty good kickers coming out of college this year. And chances are you don't have to draft one. You can still find one, you know, and still get the job done. So, yeah, I would say that, you know, you're probably going to move on from Mason Crosby in all likelihood. But you know, who knows? I mean, he was still a pretty accurate kicker. Where you're going to have to struggle a little bit is leg strength to put it beyond the end zone on a consistent basis. But still, Mason Crosby had a decent season. Really good season, actually, after the bounce back season after what he did last year. So there you go. So that's two of my three. That's two of my three. And then there was I saw it was PackersHistory.com put it out, and I retweeted it. And if you haven't seen it, take a look. It's over on Twitter. And I want to talk about that a little bit because there was that little picture, that side-by-side picture went viral. And I'm kind of like, simmer down, because I want to give you a little perspective on that as well. We'll talk about that when we come back. Hey, don't forget, coming up tomorrow night, we are going to be at the Root River. It is an actual round table tomorrow night. Myself and Mike Clemens. Mike's going to be there. He's going to join us live and in person. So myself, Mike Clemens, going to be there tomorrow night, Root River Center, down in Franklin, Wisconsin. It's brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. The Huddle continues on. Huddle coming up tomorrow night, Wednesday night, down at the Root River Center in Franklin. Don't forget, make your plans now. It is championship preview weekend. We are going to be at the Distillery in Grafton coming up on Friday, a week from this Friday, January 27th, as we start to preview the AFC and the NFC championship games. And there in person that day, you walk through the door, you get registered, and 3 hours later, bam, you could be walking out with a 55-inch big screen TV. We're giving it away right there on the spot. Plus, there's all kinds of tchotchkes from Bud Light to give away. There's going to be some beer specials, some lunch specials. Come on out. Have some lunch with us, hang out a while, and you could walk away with a big screen TV. And the box is downstairs in my bar area right now. The box is freaking huge. So you're going to need a couple people to get that thing into your car. But that being said, come on out. The Distillery in Grafton. The show is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. live and local. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is when the doors are actually open. They don't open until 11. So come on by, enjoy yourself, get a bed. Take the day off, damn it. Just go in for a half day, go get some lunch, and then take the rest of the day off. Hang out with us. Distillery in Grafton, brand new place in Main Street, Grafton up there. And we're going to be there coming up on Friday, the 27th, a week from this Friday. Looking forward to it. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Downtown Waukesha, and I go down there quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I was sitting in the bar downstairs last night doing a cigar. But if you're looking for one, or if you're looking for a hookah, looking for a good night out, man, I'll tell you what, the Nice Ash had a really, really good jazz and blues band in there on Saturday night. Man, those guys were good. I don't even know what the hell their name was, which is shame on me, but. Man, you get rock bands, you get acoustics, you get all kinds of different stuff down there. They always bring in some really good musical acts, but I don't know who they were. If anybody was down there and knows, let me know. But my God, those guys were good. Oh my good. If you like just blues, like Kansas City blues, Nashville blues, down New Orleans blues, man, those guys were good. Oh, it was like a treat on Saturday night. And it was a great crowd down there, too. But Nice Ash, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha, which is growing and vibrant. And well, it's right here in my backyard. But if you're coming from anywhere and you don't want to necessarily go downtown Milwaukee, downtown Waukesha, a lot of good brew pubs that have popped up. They've got some clubs that have popped up, college bars that have popped up, the Nice Ash that's there, obviously. So a lot of good stuff and really good food. Tofty's Table is a really good place right around the corner to go eat. You got a couple of good restaurants down there. So, yeah, good stuff from our friends down at Nice Ash. The other thing I wanted to make a mention of, and this went viral this morning, PackersHistory.com. It said, we used to be a country, a proper country. And it's got a side-by-side picture of Tom Landry. And then the next picture is inside the Cowboys locker room last night with Mike McCarthy dancing in a hoodie and a giant chain around his neck, one of those giant plastic chains with the Cowboys star on it. And Landry is in a suit, a tie, the fedora, arms crossed, gold watch on, prim and proper. This is a business trip. Mike McCarthy, not. Okay. And people are criticizing McCarthy. First of all, if you don't like McCarthy, you don't like McCarthy. But I'm not criticizing Mike McCarthy for this. Okay. I like Mike. I think still he's a pretty good coach. And did I not say that I was picking the Cowboys because one, the Cowboys were a better team, and two, when it comes to the postseason, McCarthy's always got one or two in him where he just coaches his ass off and his team comes ready to play. Did I not say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
You did. And aside from continuing to let Brett Maher kick the football,
I
think
right?
he had a great night.
I don't think they had another kicker on the squad. Yeah, Maher, I mean, that guy might not even made the plane home as mad as Dak Prescott was. He was pissed after the second or third one he missed. Oh, yeah, he
missed 4.
Yeah, he missed 4, but I think it was the second or third one that he missed that they showed Prescott on the sideline, and you could clearly tell he was dropping F-bomb after F-bomb after F-bomb regarding the kicker. So I wonder if he even made the plane ride home last night, and if they're, kind of looking for people right now. But my point being is it's a different league. It's a different time. Back when that picture of Landry was taken, that was in the 70s, man. That was in the 70s. We had rotary phones, for God's sakes. You know, I mean, it's not even similar. Our country was different. Our feelings were different. Our respect for one another was different. Our delivery of news was completely different. People want to go back, and hey, I would love to get back to some of the morals and the values that we used to have as a country. I think it would be good to go back in some ways, but in other ways, I think we've also come a long way. You know, I think we all, I think we all like respect. I think we all like, what mannerisms were given years and years and years ago. And the obnoxiousness of some people today as if it's their right to do so. I understand all of that. But this thing about you got to criticize Mike McCarthy because he's dancing, and they took one of the most awkward pictures of him ever and put it out there. It's like, come on, man. Come on. We are still a pretty proper country. But in today's day and age, for a coach to dance with his team, nobody had a problem when Dan Campbell was doing it. Right? Nobody had a problem with that. No, I mean, as a matter of fact, it went so viral. We had go back to when Kirk Cousins was dancing shirtless with all the bling on the plane, which then became a thing. And we saw, Adam Schefter was doing it on Monday Night Football. And yeah, nobody side by side that picture and said we were much more proper and he shouldn't have done that. So it's if you hate McCarthy, you hate McCarthy, but don't compare him to somebody from 1970. 1972, 74, 77. It's like, come on, man. Be better than that. It's completely different. How many times? We never would have thought that proper dads would be appearing on TikTok with their kids in today's day and age. But they do. And we all like it. We laugh at it. We think it's great. It's a relationship builder. Come on. So the whole thing about ripping Mike McCarthy coached his ass off last night. And the one thing that nobody is doing, and again, I heard it this morning, the POS, ESPN network was all the talk was, if they lose this game, is McCarthy going to lose his job? Right? That's all they talked about. All they talked about. Last night and this morning, after the game, all it was Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn had great game plans in place. And Dak played great. No mention of McCarthy. So the bias was showing immensely today. Immensely. And again, I'm not defending McCarthy. I just think it's such skewed garbage. And then to see that pop up this morning, I'm like, wait a minute. I'll be the wolf, the wolf crying it in the wilderness saying, come on. I'm the lone voice here. Come on, man. Give the guy a break. His team played really well. And now they're going to run into a juggernaut in San Francisco. And Dak, meet Bosa. Bosa, meet Dak. Because Dak's going to need to play his ass off out in San Fran. Because I just think San Francisco and Philadelphia, probably the two most complete teams they're all. And so for San Francisco, because they Purdy and they're getting healthy at the right time. Philadelphia still had some guys that have gone down throughout the season that they can't get back, even though their quarterback's coming back. But I think those two teams are the most complete teams right now. 877-867-1670. So that's my trifecta today. My three calling my shots. 1, Brady, time to go. Rodgers, he'll be back. No worries. Mike McCarthy, dance your ass off. If you win like that, dance your ass off. Put the bling around your neck, dance. Go have fun. Go have fun. And by the way, it's good cardio. All right? There you have it. Okay, let's do this. We're going to open up the phone lines, come back, get into all this discussion. Now that the Super Wild Card weekend is over, who you got from here on out? Because some favorites might have fallen by now. Others, they're still standing. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful. Your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry! To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on today, and good stuff. I came in with my 3 shots today. Got them out of the way right away. Tom Brady, time to go. Aaron Rodgers, you'll be back. And Mike McCarthy, dance your ass off. Have fun. 1974 is done. We are now, 50, 60 years away from that? Like, come on, man. Come on. 50 years? So there you go. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And did you hear the Mannings? The Mannings last night. Ben, did you listen to when they had Dan Campbell on?
I saw clips.
Eli tries to be so funny. He's not Peyton. He tries to be so funny because Dan Campbell a couple of times he had to like think about what Eli said to see if he was being funny or not, and it was a little awkward, but I just enjoy it. I was flipping back and forth. I sat downstairs last night. I had the beer and I was smoking a cigar and I just watched the game and flipping back and forth. And Eli tries to be funny, and he can be, but he only can be funny when he's like next to Peyton. So Peyton just rips him. Yeah, good one, Eli. Yeah, like you're the only one that got that, or you're the only one that thought that was funny. So anyway, last night during the Manning cast, so take a listen when it comes, because we all talk about halftime adjustments, and I've said before that there are teams that get into it and they try to do certain things and maybe make an adjustment. Maybe the coaching staff gets together. But I've said time and again, when players talk to you about halftime adjustments, there just aren't. Sometimes it's just a matter of talking to your guys in the locker room, and that's about it. But at halftime, you go in, you go to the bathroom, you get something maybe to munch on real quick, and all of a sudden it's time to go back out. You get 15 minutes total. So you got about 7 to 10 minutes total to get in and get out. That's it. And so they got into this whole discussion about how fans are like, oh, the halftime adjustments. Take a listen to what the Mannings had to say about all the people who have opinions about halftime adjustments.
Coming out of halftime, all those halftime adjustments, it really paid off right there. That I don't know about you. I don't think I ever made a halftime adjustment in my entire 18-year career. I think it's the biggest myth in football, the halftime adjustments, right? You go in, you use the restroom, you eat a couple of oranges, and then the head coach says, all right, let's go.
Yeah, no question. I mean, you're in there for like 3 minutes.
There's no time.
There you go. Halftime adjustments. I've been saying it forever. When people say, well, they got out-coached in the second half. Maybe they did. Maybe the coaches saw something and they said, okay, we're going to change things up a little bit. Maybe they did. But when it comes to the players of, hey, let's scrap this, let's do this, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. There's not halftime adjustments. Maybe for the coaches to a certain extent. Maybe they're going to start attacking something a little differently or changing up defensively what they should do. But, yeah, not a whole lot of the halftime adjustments. I thought that was pretty good last night. Manning cast is always good. Always good. This is who's this one from? This is from Leah Michelle, who said, hey, Bill, did you do the Oh, did you do the Roberts? Oh, the Roberts things. Yeah, I did do that. Thank you very much. I made a mention of that. I didn't post a picture. I maybe I will, but maybe I'll do that later. I didn't post a picture last night, but yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I stopped into Pick and Save and I picked up a bottle of what is, Ben, I'll get your opinion on this. Are you a spaghetti sauce guy?
Yeah, generally so. I like it.
So tell me, when you're in the grocery store, what spaghetti sauce is your go-to?
In terms of brand or
Yeah.
style?
Well, brand and style, both.
I don't have a specific one, frankly. I'm a fan of like the bolognese, like the meaty sauces.
Okay. So, I'm good with that. I like that too. I think I bought a jar. I've never tried it. And my cousin had told me a couple of times, you got to try this, of Classico. And Classico's a little, now you look at like Ragu and Prego and stuff like that. And those are $3.50, $4, something like that. Classico's a little more expensive. All right. So I went in there and I saw a jar of the Italian sausage Classico spaghetti sauce. And I bought that. I got to tell you, it was really good. Since I was pouring it on the Al Capone sausage anyway, I thought this is going to be a really good mix. So I started out, I put them in a skillet too, an old fashioned iron, beat you in the face with it kind of skillet. And that's what I did. I put a little olive oil in there, put the sauce in there, and got it all, lathered up real good. And I put the sausages in there first to get them seared. And then I threw the sauce in there on top of them. Oh my God. It doesn't look great in the picture. It just looks like a lop of crap. But oh my God, was it good. So I'll post that a little bit later. But yes, Leah, thank you very much. I did do that. She must have been watching last night. Scott says, halftime adjustments, you're kidding me, right? LOL. Well, at least at Green Bay. The halftime adjustments didn't seem to come fast and furious in Green Bay. You're correct. You're correct on that.
I think a lot of people correctly pointed out that those adjustments, especially defensively, scheme-wise, they come drive to drive.
Right.
So it might look like a halftime adjustment, but it could just be, okay, they just did 5 drives. They're doing this well. Now we're going to change to try to take it away.
Yep.
Which is where Joe Barry did, admittedly, fall behind, it seemed.
Which you are correct. Now, I will say that, teams played better again. It just seemed like the Packers could do some things in the first half of ball games, and then in the second half, they would fall short. And it's pretty much the way it went all season long. So teams were doing something at halftime, if you just look at the tale of two halves. But yeah, it was a tough road. It was a tough road for the Packers. But I am still going to Rodgers going to be back. Book it today, January 17th on a Tuesday. I said it at 10:15, 10:13, something like that in the morning, that Rodgers coming back. If I had to put money, my own hard-earned money, on who was coming back, I'm betting Rodgers. Rodgers will be there. Here's something else to think about, though. The average age of the quarterbacks remaining in the playoffs. You know how the age is, Ben, by any chance?
Seems to be quite young.
There is not one quarterback over the age of 30. The average age is 25.4.
Is the oldest Mahomes at 27?
No, Dak Prescott at 29.
Huh.
Dak Prescott is 29. Mahomes is 27. Josh Allen's 26. Joe Burrow is 26. I didn't believe Joe Burrow was that old. I thought he was still like 24, 23. 26. But I forget he also got drafted and lost a whole year because he got his knee blown out.
He was in college for a while, too.
Yeah.
He was at Ohio State for a year, 2 years.
Daniel Jones is 25. Jalen Hurts, 24. Brock Purdy, 23. And Trevor Lawrence is 23. Think about that for a minute. How about that? There you go. Hey, don't forget, coming up after the top of the hour, Rob Reichel is going to join us today. We're going to talk with him about some of the changes that may or may not be happening in Green Bay. I saw that Lake Tomahawk, Mason Crosby's up in Lake Tomahawk. I think he's doing some snowmobiling, if I'm not mistaken. If there's snow, tell me if there's snow up in Tomahawk, for God's sakes. But I saw that Mason Crosby is in the Tomahawk area, hanging out. So good Tomahawk Chamber of Commerce, man. Get him down in front of that giant Tomahawk sign and take his picture there and get the Porta-Johns out of the way. That's going to bug me until they don't do that anymore. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, here's Mike Clemens.
As the Packers wait for an answer from Aaron Rodgers, another veteran says he'll be back if the team still wants him. Place kicker Mason Crosby says although he's 38, he has no plans to hang up his cleats.
I don't have any plans on, tying them up. So, my plan is to, just kind of keep pushing and, kind of look at how I want to work through the offseason to, try to give it another go.
Crosby has been through 6 special teams coordinators, including Rich Bisaccia, since the Packers drafted him in the 6th round of the 2007 draft. Is he currently under contract? GM Brian Gutekunst.
Mason's not, so we're working through all that stuff. Mason had an outstanding year this year, was really clutch in a lot of ways. I mean, he's performing at a high level for a long time, and obviously having Rich coming in and stuff, and him adapting to a new special teams coach for I don't know how many years in a row now. But he carried us in a few of those games. There's no doubt about it.
Last night on Monday Night Football, the Cowboys beat the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay 31-14. Dallas now heads to San Francisco to play the 49ers. After the loss, 45-year-old Tom Brady was asked if he's any closer on a decision whether to stay with Tampa Bay, sign with another team, or retire from the NFL.
No, I'm not. This has been a lot of focus on, this game. So, yeah, let's just be one day at a time, truly.
Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles.
Well, man, I'm going to sit down and have a conversation, and we'll talk about it at that time. So, it's not anything publicly that needs to be said at this time.
I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. Don't forget about our friends at the Water Doctors. H2, the letter O. Doctors.com. That's the Water Doctors. And if you are looking for the Connecticut water softening system, the best water softening system out there by far, you got to check out Water Doctors. John Alley and his crew, they're just fantastic people. And honest, reputable, really, really reputable. And I can swear by the water softening system they have. That Connecticut system is by far the best. And I've had 3 other name brands, one a year in my old home. Well, 2 houses ago. And I finally had such bad service. I cut one of them out, threw it out in the front yard, said, come and get it. Went without water for a couple of days until I met John Atley and the staff and Dr. Bob and the gang at the Water Doctors. And they put in the Connecticut system. I'm like, wow, what a difference. Not even comparable. So give them a call, 262-549-7733. Anywhere in the state. 262-549-7733. That's H2, the letter O, doctors.com, H2ODoctors.com, or call them 262-549-7733. And they do a lot for veterans and the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy. So ask about that as well. That's the Water Doctors. Couple of things. We're going to have Rob Reichel coming up after the top of the hour. So mentioning the fact that according to the NFL, the average age of quarterbacks remaining in the postseason right now is 25.4. And it's kind of a new generation of guys. Right away, people jump on that and go, have to have Jordan Love. It's Jordan Love's time. Got to go with Jordan Love. Is Jordan Love, in your opinion, then, as good as or better than any of the guys that are right now still remaining? You can go with Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, top picks, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and everybody in between. Think about that. Think about that. 877-867-1670. Going to talk with Rob Reichel coming up after the top of the hour. Also, Rob wrote a really good piece, and it's 5 potential landing spots for Aaron Rodgers, if indeed they part ways. So it's interesting as to where Rodgers could, if they decide to move him, end up. Don't forget Brian Gutekunst said, talking about Aaron Rodgers, he's going to take some time. I think that's fair. And then we have to work through this. And as he takes his time, kind of makes his decision just on his playing career in general, then we're going to get together and move forward in that way. And if Rodgers doesn't retire and he and the Packers elect to, end the 18-year marriage, there's going to be a demand for Rodgers. He still has it in him. I mean, Tom Brady proved you can win over 40. Those who have won over 40, I think there's 2. I think it's been Manning and Brady that have won a Super Bowl over the age of 40. That's it. In the history of the NFL, that's it. If Green Bay opts to trade Rodgers, there's the Jets, the Titans, Washington, Indy, and Las Vegas are probably the 5 that would be the most active. So we'll talk about that when we get back after the top of the hour. But it just depends on what you believe. You know, some are saying, well, look at the ages. You got to move on to Love. Others are saying Love's not even a top 15, top 20 guy. So why are you so quick to move on to Jordan Love? I still think Rodgers gives you your best chance to win. That's just my opinion. But I also think that much like was stated about Tom Brady this morning, and is being stated about Lamar Jackson now, you have the reality is you got to put pieces around them. You can't just go out and say, go win it by yourself anymore. You can't. You can't. You can't do it. You got to be committed, and then you have to understand the money situation that comes along with it. So Rob Reichel is going to give us his perspective coming up here after the top of the hour. Hang in there for that. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Pindell, a quality machining and manufacturing company right here in the state of Wisconsin, New Berlin, Wisconsin. As a matter of fact, if you're looking for a career, they're looking for you. They're looking for you. Go to Pindell, Pindel.com, Pindell.com, Pindell.com. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We're only 1 hour into this thing today. Oh, my goodness. We still got a lot more to go. We'll be back coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Yesterday saw the Milwaukee Bucks rally from a double-digit second-half deficit to beat the Indiana Pacers 132-119. The Bucks outscored the Pacers 39-21 in the fourth quarter, helped by a huge day from Drew Holiday. He had 35 points and 11 assists for his third double-double, while Bobby Portis added 21 with 11 boards. Brooke Lopez chipped in 19 and Grayson Allen 17. The Bucks are back at it tonight. They host the Raptors at the Fiserv Forum for a 6:30 tip. To Badger basketball, Wisconsin has fallen out of the AP Top 25 after two more losses last week, including a blowout fashion to Indiana on Saturday. It dropped their record in Big Ten play to 3-3 after starting out 3-0. All three of those losses, they came without Tyler Wall in the lineup. The team's leading scorer has missed time with an ankle injury, but there is hope he will play tonight against the Penn State Nittany Lions, with tip-off from the Kohl Center coming at 7:30.
You're worth so much more. Have you ever had the choice to accumulate wealth or go into debt? Let's play Would You Rather. Would you rather have $190,000 in total compensation or be $29,000 in debt? That's the choice between paying for a bachelor's degree that might not even land you a job or an apprenticeship with LIUNA that will lead to job security, a pension, stability, and a lifetime of great wages. You're worth so much more. Go to liunawisconsin.org/join to learn how to accumulate wealth instead of debt.
The Green Bay Packers are in full offseason mode, and the question, will Aaron Rodgers play or not, is a big one. The team must also decide if they want to pick up Jordan Love's fifth-year option. GM Brian Gutekunst said last week that it is not a given for the backup quarterback, especially with the uncertainty around the salary cap. If they don't pick it up, Love will become a free agent after next season. And Wisconsin football, they'll be getting its winter workout started this week in Madison. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome in. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show continuing on. On this Tuesday, we watched last night, in my opinion, what should be the last game in the career of Tom Brady, and then maybe next year for $375 million, he's going to be heading into the broadcast booth for Fox. You would assume, but not a good night
for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was a bad football team. Let's be honest. They got in because they were in a really horrific division. But that was a bad football team, to say the very least. And Dak and company took advantage of it, and they did what they were supposed to do. First road win for the Cowboys since 1992, and dropping 31 on them last night. So there you go. Now the Packers, in the meantime, they've got decisions to make. And Rob Reichel, Forbes.com, Conley Media, joining us on the hotline. Rob, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Billy?
I'm good. So let's start with your piece in the in Forbes that I was kind of reading, that if indeed the Packers part ways with Aaron Rodgers, there's some suitors out there that could possibly take him on, and all the ramifications thereof if that indeed becomes the thing, right?
Yeah, and obviously that's the $64,000 question this offseason, right? And it has been the last couple off seasons. Will 12 be back or not? And we're kind of in a waiting pattern on that, obviously, for the next, I would think, 4 to 6 weeks, Billy. They'll clean it up by late February, you would have to think, with the new league year coming early in March. And I would think Green Bay is going to want to know some answers on this, certainly by the time they go down and bring all their people to the combine in early March. But Bill, and this is why I think, my personal opinion is it's important for Green Bay, if they can find a way to part ways with Aaron Rodgers, this is the time to do it, because they can still get some draft capital for him. The longer this plays out with Rodgers being a Packer, he's 39 years old today, Bill. If he's 41 in a couple of years and they haven't moved on from him, they're going to get nothing in a trade. I mean, they're not going to get the same draft capital they would have gotten a year or two ago, where a team like Denver gave up the moon to go and get a Russell Wilson. But I still think, Bill, they get maybe a 1 and a 3, something like that, if they were able to move on from Rodgers this offseason. There are a handful of teams that have general managers on the hot seat that they're kind of in a win now or be done with with kind of their current path in terms of an organization that are out there. Indianapolis, for example, which has tried a number of quarterbacks since Andrew Luck retired, is going to be desperate for a quarterback. The New York Jets, I think, missed miserably with Zach Wilson. That's a really good roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Some young talent on the offensive side. I think they would love to get in the Aaron Rodgers bidding. You look at a team like Tennessee, Bill, who's got a defensive-minded head coach who could probably take me and you and Benny in there and Ebo and hold teams to 24 points a game because Mike Vrabel's that good. He's got the best running back arguably in football, and you throw Aaron Rodgers, who already has land and a house down in Tennessee into that mix. Because they're kind of they're done with Ryan Tannehill. They're kind of in a win now with Derrick Henry mode, or blow the whole thing up and start over. A team like Washington, Bill. I know Green Bay would never want to keep Rodgers inside the conference if possible. But if they do turn the page on to Jordan Love, Billy, it's going to be a deal where they're going to be in a mini rebuild, and at least Washington's not in the same division. Washington, again, has a terrific young defense. The 4 first-rounders on the defensive line, 3 pretty good wide receivers for Rodgers to go play catch with. And then the last one I outlined in the story, Bill, was reuniting with Devontae Adams, maybe in Las Vegas, who's obviously moving on from Carr, and there's 8 years of really good history built up with Rodgers and Devontae, and maybe something like that would work. So, Bill, I mean, we're putting the cart before the horse, obviously, in a story like that, but it is fun to kind of speculate. I mean, everyone's in a waiting and a holding period with Aaron Rodgers, and he loves that guys like you are talking about him every day on the radio, that guys like me are writing about him every couple of days in, whatever website or newspaper that people are, writing about him in, and that he's still the talk of, the state of Wisconsin in the middle of January, and Aaron loves that. Trust me. So we'll wait and see. Rodgers kind of has the Packers held hostage, even though he says I'm not going to hold them hostage until he gives them some kind of answer, Bill. they're in a holding pattern with where they're going to go at quarterback for 2023.
What with some of the guys that are coming up, you look at the restructure like an Aaron Jones. They just redid Elton Jenkins, but now you got Bakhtiari, you've got Mason Crosby, you've got numerous guys that you could part ways with, even Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb. I mean, is there anybody you're considering bringing back?
Well, so you mentioned a couple there. Guys like Bakhtiari and Jones are obviously under contract for next year. Bakhtiari, I think, is on the books for a little over 29. Aaron Jones is about 20, Bill. I think if those guys are going to come back, they're going to come back at restructured or smaller deals. And it's not out of the question that the Packers take a Zadarius Smith approach, with one of those players. The most likely one would be David Bakhtiari, I would think, and just move on from the particular player. Now, in Bakhtiari's case, Bill, they would take a pretty significant dead cap hit in 2023. I think his number there is like $23 million. So they'd save like $6 against the cap with Bakhtiari. So obviously for both sides, it would make some sense to go ahead and restructure that. When it comes more specifically, Billy, to their free agents, and I almost, the way he played certainly the last 8 weeks of the season, I would almost put Keyshawn Nixon as the number one free agent that they have to find a way to bring back. But you outlined a few of them there. I mean, and Green Bay is going to have some tough decisions. Nixon, Adrian Amos, Randall Cobb, you mentioned Bobby Tunyon, Alan Lazard, guys like that. Bill, they are in salary cap hell. They've kicked the can down the road about as far as they can with so many of these contracts. I looked today at a couple things, Spot Track, places like that, and they're projected to be 14, 15 million over the cap before doing anything in terms of trying to bring back these particular free agents. So I don't know exactly where the money comes from, and unless you can eventually move on from Aaron Rodgers and that enormous price tag that he's going to carry. And even then, Bill, you only get a certain amount of salary cap relief based on moving him after June 1, which makes the most sense for Green Bay. So the numbers are going to be extremely tricky for Brian Gutekunst, for Russ Ball to try to balance the books next year. Bill, I think at the end of the day, what you're going to see in Green Bay is a significantly younger team in 2023. In essence, I know because they don't go out and make the big splashes all the time in free agency, fans don't think they're quote unquote going for it. But Green Bay really has gone for it the last couple of years by bringing back a lot of these high-priced veterans they had on the roster, and the salary cap numbers that they carried. They really were going all in with Aaron Rodgers. Well, the Visa bill is coming due. The MasterCard bill is due this year, and they've got they've got significant cap issues, Billy, and they can move a little bit of it down the road again. But the bottom line is I think they're going to have 20 players somewhere in that range playing for the league minimum. And when you get a roster like that, Bill, it's going to be tough to keep up with some of these other teams that have their books and their financial situation a little more balanced and in line. It's going to be very hard, Billy, for Green Bay to be better than a 500 football team next year, the way things are shaping up salary cap wise.
That was going to be my next question. I mean, everybody says, and I say it too, that Rodgers probably gives you the best chance to win, but you also have to put the pieces around him to be able to do it. So, do you run it back? I mean, if you're Goody, do you run it back for one more year, try to do everything you can, and then say, hey, and then obviously you're going to have to figure out what you want to do with Jordan Love. And put it this way, if Jordan Love can play like they knew Rodgers could play, don't you just find it really easy to make the move now and just say, you know what, make your decision, yes or no, much like they did with Favre? I mean, if you believe that Jordan Love's your guy, otherwise you wouldn't hesitate, right?
Correct. Yes and no, Bill. I mean, it's kind of a two-tiered answer there. To me, there's not a lot of sense to bring him back either way. You've tried this 12 straight years since the Super Bowl win in 2010, and you've gotten absolutely nothing to show for it. And his skill set, Rodgers that is, has declined dramatically. I mean, Father Time gets everybody. The question is, did it get Aaron Rodgers in 2022? He will have a lot of questions to answer in 2023 coming back if he can recapture some of the magic that led to MVPs in 2020 and 2021 because he was nowhere near the same player in 2022, Bill, that he was the previous 2 years. And even in those years, Bill, you know, the playoff disappointments are really hard to overlook and to overcome. His fourth quarter meltdowns the last couple of years, and I consider the Lions game a couple of weeks ago, Bill, even, you know, that in itself was a playoff game. So you look at their last 3 elimination games on the home field: Tampa Bay in the NFC title game in 2020, San Francisco last year in the divisional round, and then Detroit the other night. And Billy, in those 3 games in the fourth quarter alone, Rodgers was 10 of 24 for 83 yards, and his passer rating was 33.9. He hasn't been good in the postseason since that run to a Super Bowl title in 2010. So I continue to say, what's the definition of insanity, right? It's doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And I kind of think that's where Green Bay is right now. That they're an organization paralyzed by fear. The fear of the unknown, but at some point in time, they've got to rip off the Band-Aid and they've got to take the leap. The problem is they've given so much power and control of this relationship to Aaron Rodgers that they've kind of just got to wait and see what he wants to do. I mean, they guaranteed him, Billy, $101 million of guaranteed money in the first 2 years of this contract that they did a year ago. So if Rodgers does want to come back and play, they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. They can tell him, I guess, he could be the backup, or they want to move on from him, or they're going to trade him. But Rodgers does have, you know, all the hand and all the power in this, you know, in this quote unquote marriage with the Packers. So, to me, Billy, the best case scenario is that Rodgers would either A, retire, or B, he would say to the Packers, you know what, I'd like to try it with another team. You know, I'd like to try it in Tennessee. I'd like to try it again with Devontae. I'd like to try it, with the Jets, whoever that team turns out to be, and Green Bay can turn the page and find out if Jordan Love is the guy or not. I think they do believe, Billy, that Jordan Love can play. And I think there's a belief inside the organization, not to the same extent that it was back in 2008 with Aaron Rodgers. And because I do think a lot of people at that point in time believe Rodgers was even a better player already than Brett Favre was, 15 years ago. I don't think the belief is that strong right now in the organization, but I think there's a lot of folks inside that building, Billy, that think Jordan Love can turn into a really quality starter in this league. Maybe not a top 5 guy, but somewhere in that 10 to 15 range. And if you put enough pieces and a good enough roster around him, you will be a consistent playoff team. And I would think Brian Gutekunst, who traded up and kind of put his neck on the line in the Jordan Love pick 3 years ago, Billy, I would think Brian Gutekunst at some point in time owes it to himself to find out if Jordan Love is that guy. And it just seems to me when you can still get something for Aaron Rodgers in a trade, which the Packers could this particular offseason, if they can come to some type of agreement with Rodgers that this is the right time to move on, I think it makes sense for all parties to do it, before you get to kickoff in September of 2023.
I'm talking with Rob Reichel at Rob Reichel over on Twitter, Forbes.com, Conley Media. Real quick before I let you go, Rob. So give me all the opinions of what we have and what we want to see and what we think will happen are out there. What do you actually, on opening day of 2023, is Aaron Rodgers the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers?
I would say yes. I think he will wind up being the quarterback. I think he plays this out about another month, Bill. Knowing how Rodgers operates, it wouldn't surprise me on the Saturday night before whoever it is, before theoretically, let's just say we see the Bills and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, that where on a Saturday night before that game, Rodgers lets news out. So on Sunday, everybody in the world, all these network guys are talking about Aaron Rodgers coming back. And if he does say he wants to come back, Billy, it does really, like I touched on earlier, it puts the Packers in a bind. It puts them in a tough situation. They could play hardball with the guy, again, kind of like they did with Favre back in the summer, and tell him, sailed, your time has passed. I don't think this organization is going to do it. Mark Murphy turned 68 this summer, Bill. I'm not convinced he wants to go out his last couple of years with a rebuild. Remember at 70, the Packers move on from the president. I think Mark Murphy's got a big hand in this. how it's all playing out, and I'm not convinced that he wants to turn it over and start a mini rebuild with a Jordan Love or whoever else it turns out to be. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, which is what I do, I guess, Billy. But the bottom line is, yes, I think Rodgers, after a few weeks here, is going to say he wants back, and the Packers are gonna try to run it back, and we're going to be sitting here, in November, December again, talking probably about a 500 football team that's fighting to get into the playoffs, which is all I think they would be a year from now with Rodgers, Bill.
There you go. Rob, that's why I bring you on, buddy. I appreciate it, pal, okay?
Always fun. Thanks, Billy.
Talk to you. There you go. Rob Reichel joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline, and that's the reason I wanted to get him on, because the opinion of what people believe should happen versus the opinion of what people think will happen, I think, are somewhat different. I agree with Rob. I think Rodgers is coming back. I think that this will be the last runabout for Rodgers in Green Bay, depending on how he plays next year. But I also think that they will do everything they can. I think I've taken some pieces of advice from people that I know that are close to that organization that have said there is legacy tied to this. Mark Murphy wants a championship before he goes, and Rodgers wants a championship before he goes. Those two together, not necessarily that they're communicating with one another saying, let's run it back together for you and for me, but for their own legacies. I really believe that they are going to do anything and everything they can to kick the can down the road, find as much money as possible, and which is Russ Ball's task, and to run as much money as they can at this team and try to do it one more time. I really believe that's what they're going to do. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Again, 877-867-1670. Our friends at J&L Tire remind you, when it comes to money, you don't have to spend a ton because they will do everything they can to save you money on your auto repairs, on your things like, we'll say, oil changes, tire rotations, and new tires, all that kind of stuff, brake jobs. They can help you out. J&L Tire, whether it's a minivan, soccer mom, sales over the road, sedans, coupes, your little hot rod thing that sounds like an egg beater, or all the way up to the big rigs that are heading down our highways right now. Right there on the Johnson Creek exit off of 94, that's the place to go, and I trust them. I drive the extra mileage just to go there because I trust them. That's how good they are. That's our friends at J&L Tire. And not to mention, they do great things in their community. They donate a lot of time and money back to their community out in the Watertown area, the Johnson Creek area. They also have a shop up in Watertown, in case you're interested. Go to jnltire.com. That is jnltire.com. That's jnltire.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bread. Delicious bread. It's so essential, it's often been exchanged like money throughout history. Well, at Quick Trip, our freshly made bread from our bakery saves you money. Because right now, our quick hot savings is Quick-Re white bread. Just 79 cents a loaf. 79 cents? Can you buy anything for 79 cents these days? Yup. A loaf of our fresh white bread. It's like inflation never happened here. So save some bread. Buying some bread. Just 79 cents a loaf. Only at Quick Trip. We got you covered.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Hey, our friends at Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau. He is Wisconsin's best canvas upholstery and boat cover provider that is out there. Dwayne's Cover It All. They get it done. Whether it's an awning for your business, recovering furniture for your office, your gym, or redoing your boat, canopies and such. Boy, they do a lot of great stuff. That's Wisconsin's best canvas upholstery and boat cover provider out there. 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. Go to Dwayne's, D-U-A-N-E-S, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. Again, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. Not to mention, he's just a really good guy. Really good guy. Good to have Rob on. Rob Reichel joining us on the program. Here's the question, and we talked about this before we brought Rob in. And that question was basically, I think Rodgers is back. I've said it. I've said if I had to be a betting man, I'd say I'd bet the money that he's back. Okay. The next thing I would say is that I think he's back with the Packers, first and foremost. I'm not saying that he's back and he's going to play for somebody else, but I think he's back. Do I think it's time for him to go? He's only a year removed from winning an MVP. So it's tough for me to sit here and go, because he's still made throws this season that you just went, wow, what a throw. It's not like he's like, I saw Brady last night struggle to make the most basic of throws. And his legs weren't under him. He just The footwork was slow. It just looked like, okay, I really kind of, for that last hurrah, was kind of rooting for Brady. But as I saw the game go on, I thought, okay, time to be done. Time to be done. Rodgers isn't there. Rob says his skills diminished dramatically, kind of like falling off the table. I don't know if I would say that, go that far. But it didn't look right. But as long as you've got him, I think you take one more shot. I think you take one more shot and you try to run it back one more time. After that, we all know what it is. But I think it's one more time. One more time. 877-867-1670. Now, there are people that feel he's coming back, but he's not playing in Green Bay. I don't buy that. I think Rodgers, it's Green Bay or it's nothing. I just, why go someplace for a year? I don't see Rodgers doing that. Why go someplace for a year? I think that he runs it back one more time, takes a real good shot at it next year, and he's under center. Now that does bring the question up then, well, should you be, signing, Jordan Love? Should you be signing Jordan Love? Whether or not you believe, because behind closed doors, they know whether or not he can play. I know a lot of us want to go, oh, yeah, we saw him in that Eagles game. He looked great. And he did. But 2 series does not a career make. And I'm not ready to just jump into the, hey, we got to pay him $20 million level. You know what I mean? So do you want to bring back Jordan Love? Do you want to run that back? Or do you say, you know what? Bring Rodgers back, keep Jordan Love for one more year. If, it looks like he's really the guy, then you make a deal with him in the midseason and you say, this is what we're doing. Otherwise, there's more quarterbacks that are out there to be had. 877-867-1670. Brett says, what is the Aaron and LaFleur relationship component? That needs to be worked on then. I don't know if it's bad. Some of the things we've heard have sounded somewhat bad. Like there's a strain there, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know that for sure. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just simply saying I don't think that's a gimme. 877-867-1670. I want to get your opinions on this. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mike listening to us in Cudahy. Mike, welcome to the program, man. What's going on?
Hey, Bill. How you doing? You drying off from yesterday?
I am. I'm feeling good.
Not that way. The other way. We're talking the ring.
Exactly.
Okay. If you remember one of Rodgers' recent press conferences, he says, everybody knows when it's time to take a step, off or on the carousel rather. So I think he will not play for another team. If he does, it'll be Green Bay, but he could, there's a strong possibility that he can retire, but there's always 60 million reasons why he shouldn't retire. But here's my thing, Bill. The last few years with the perfect storm, everything being on Green Bay's side, we're kind of a one and done choke job team when it comes to playoffs. So insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. So having said that, I don't think anything's going to change. I think we need to change at quarterback and a new era starts because I think the Rodgers gravy train has lost all its wheels and fallen off the track. Plus his attitude sucked last year. He didn't go to OTAs, and I think that really did hurt him a lot with the rookie receivers. So my deal is he's either going to play for Green Bay or nothing. He could swing towards retirement only because of what happened on the Monday Night Football game, and he even said that. It shook all the players up that, hey, NFL not for long, stay away from retirement, which is by permanent injury or death or whatever. So, yeah, you got to really rethink things. There's a lot more things greater in life than just playing a game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Appreciate the phone call. I look at it as there is the mentality of I breathe it, eat it, sleep it. That's what I live for. And I think that Brady has always had that. It's been stated that that's, Brady, Peyton Manning, a lot of those guys that have had this enormous amount of success. That's all they did. That's all they considered. That's the game. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to play. Then there's guys like Rodgers who, when you're young, you want to prove everybody wrong. And as you age, you're kind of like, oh, I wouldn't mind doing this. Oh, I'm thinking about this. Oh, I want to expand my life knowledge or whatever. Now, Rodgers goes off the rails in a different area, I guess, but he thinks about other things, so if you're football players will tell you, if you're not wholly into it, then you got to get out of it because it can eat you up. But I don't know when Rodgers comes to the season and or his work ethic away from the field in the offseason. So I don't know what that level is. I know one thing. I saw him slower this year. Rodgers was slower. Now, whether that was the knee, whatever reason, Rodgers was slower. He didn't have the same spring in his step. There were a couple of times he raced for a first down. He did a few things, but he was slow to react, slow to move, slow to run. Once you lose your legs, that's it. Mind or not, that's it. It's not your arm. It's not your mind. It's the reaction time between your mind and your arm. It's the reaction time between your mind and your feet. That then begins to slow, becomes diminished, and then you are a sitting duck. And then you look like Brady. Not that Brady was ever, really swift of foot. But that's the reason I would say if I'm Rodgers, you got to take a real good hard look in the mirror and say, physically, can I do this anymore? And if I think I'm on the verge, that means I got to get at it now. Take your month off, whatever, but then it's now. You got to get back. You got to start working it. So we talk about the thumb. We don't know the severity of the thumb. Obviously, it didn't need surgery. We don't know what the knee issue was down the stretch. He's very quiet about injuries, but he didn't look right. Hey, let's do this. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Our friends over at New Mail Medical. I talked to Justin down there yesterday. Now, Justin is based out of Tampa, Florida, but I was talking to Justin, and I said, hey, he gave me a call. Now, this is kind of what's cool about New Mail is he called me, he said, hey, how's the weight loss going? I said, it's been kind of tough. I'm 55 years old. And I said, I'm not 35 or 25 anymore, where it just falls off, but I'm doing really well. I'm down about 8 pounds, 9 pounds. And he said, well, that's good. He said, hey, we have developed a whole new system. And it's basically weight loss in a box. They send you this kit. And he said, no longer, now that you never starved yourself on their program, you just didn't. But he said, this thing is basically chemically balanced. It allows you to eat a little bit more. But he said, Bill, I'm down 124 pounds. You wouldn't even recognize me, which Justin was a big dude anyway. So if you, and they're now putting it in all of their locations. So if you have been thinking about jumpstarting yourself for a brand new 2023 and making it a new you and a new year, obviously they have low T process. They have the ability to help you out with ED, erectile dysfunction. But if you really want to jumpstart a brand new you, I am anxious to do this. And he is they're going to ship it to the location in Milwaukee, and then I'm going to go over and pick it up, and then I'm going to start it. I said, I'm happy to take before and after photos. I don't mind doing that. Remember during the Emerge Challenge back years ago, I was doing radio, and I said, hey, during the lockdown, We're all locked down. Let's come out of this better. And I did. And I was great until about June of last year. And then I hurt my back and I couldn't move. It's excruciating pain. And the ability to work out, the ability to pedal a bike, the ability to walk up and down stairs, just anything. It was so tough. So I put on quite a bit of weight, and I've been taking it off slowly. I've been watching what I eat. I've been doing really well. Not that I'm carbless or anything like that, but just trying to do right things. And now they've come up with this. I can't wait. So I'm anticipating it. So check out our friends at New Medical Center, 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. And you may want to try it yourself. Our buddy Steve writes, hey, by the way, the band that was down at Nice Ash over the weekend was the Robert Allen Jr. Band. Yes, Steve, you are correct. What a great band. Oh, my God. Terrific rhythm and blues. Oh, it was so good. So good. So thank you very much for bringing that up and let me know that. Talking about Aaron Rodgers. I made my 3 statements today. One is, I think Tom Brady, he has to hang it up. He doesn't have to for me, but what we saw last night, Tom Brady is not Tom Brady. He's not the Tom Brady we remember, gunning it all over the place, coming up with big plays, incredible arm, and all that kind of stuff. He had slow footwork. He looked bad. Just didn't look good last night. Okay. Then secondly, I also think that Dak Prescott, meet Joey Bosa. It's that is, to me, between the 49ers and the Eagles, I think that it is going to, you just beat a really bad Tampa Bay team and people are high on the Cowboys right now. Slow your roll, because when you go into Levi Stadium next weekend, it is going to be really hard for me to even think about picking the Cowboys against the 49ers. I also said Rodgers is coming back. I'm not basing this off of any information. I got people already saying, who's your source? No source here. Okay. I'm telling you, this is my opinion. So if you have to look at me and say, because that's all the questions that have been over the last 24, 48 hours. Is he coming back? Do you think he's going to be back? Do you think he's going to come back for 60? Do you think he's going to go somewhere else? Does he want to be traded? Will he retire? Where he wants? Whoa, stop. He's coming back. I'm telling you, I believe he's coming back. I believe he's going to come back. I believe he's going to play with the Green Bay Packers. That's it. And then the last statement I made today was, I know it's 2 different times. They showed a lot of Mike McCarthy dancing last night in the locker room after the game, which did make me laugh. But then they compare it with Tom Landry and the dignity of Tom Landry. It's like, dude, you're talking about 1974 versus 2022-23. Okay, stop. 2 different eras. Okay, stop. Just stop it now. Very, very different. Mike McCarthy, go have fun with your guys. Go enjoy the win. It was a big win for you. First time on the road is since 1992. First time ever the Cowboys have beaten Tom Brady. A lot of firsts there. And your quarterback played well. You know, the only faux pas you had last night was your kicker couldn't stick it through the uprights if he had to. Beyond that, you were good. So, yeah. Some firings today. The Bucs getting rid of their offensive coordinator. So you had some firings there. Also, you had firings out in LA. I want to say San Diego all the time, but the Chargers, they fired their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi. So he is gone after their playoff collapse. So they let him go today. And Lombardi now looking for a job again. The Browns look like they're going to hire Jim Schwartz is going to be their defensive coordinator. So he's going there. So Jim Schwartz is back in the business. And the big news, and this one was rather shocking to me. Cincinnati, their Bengals team president, Mike Brown, says he hopes he can get Joe Burrow. He wants him for a long career in Cincinnati, but he understands it's going to take some time and a price. And they are notorious for lowballing players. Notorious. At this point in time, Joe Burrow is the face of your franchise. He brought you back. You're in a back-to-back postseasons. You've been to a Super Bowl. You pay that man. And he's young. So if you're going to do, say, a 6 or 7 year deal, well over, $300 million, make $1 million of it guaranteed to be, but you pay him now. If you wait or go a short deal, you're going to pay him a lot more later. So I think you've secure him up and lock him up right now, without a doubt. So those are some of the news headlines right now that we've seen. Let's go back to the phone calls. Talk to Court, listening to us in Whitewater. Court, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, Unit. Thanks for taking my call. And I got listening to you guys a little late, and I don't know if anybody else brought this up, but I think a big decision for Aaron Rodgers on whether he retires or not is what Tom Brady decides to do, because I cannot see him retiring in the same year as Tom Brady, going into the Hall together, but playing second fiddle to Tom Brady when he goes in. I think his ego's way too big for that. If Tom Brady decides to hang it up, I think Aaron Rodgers is coming back for another year for sure, because he wants to be top billing when he goes to Camden.
We all assume that. Appreciate the phone call. We all assume that, and I did mention that a little bit earlier, because not only would he go with Tom Brady, but he would be going with J.J. Watt as well, the two big names that would be going into the Hall that year. So I would not put it. I just think he's coming back. I just do. I think he's coming back. So what everybody else thinks, maybe something different, but if you had listen to me and said, hey, I'm going to be a betting person, I'm putting my money that Rodgers is back and he's back with the Packers. Now, am I betting my house? No, but I have a big, high level of confidence in this thing. I just do.
Bill, people have also compared the end of Brady's presser, which we played earlier, with the end of Rodgers from that Lions game. The difference is people asked Rodgers about that.
Right.
I forget who it was. They asked him what he would miss. Brady, kind of unprompted, thanked everybody. So
Right.
It feels like he's definitely done in Tampa. I feel like if he does return, it'd be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But the context around those very different.
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. So I feel Brady needs to go. I think it's time, and I hate to say it, because I think Brady has had an incredible career, and I don't think anybody wants the career to end. But I believe that it's time. It's it is what it is. I believe it's going to go that way. And he's going to call it a career. And the fact that he's sitting there with $375 million waiting for him, it makes it a little bit easier. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free. Go ahead and do so again, 877-867-1670. We'll come back to the phone calls when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Grilling outside or hearing that sizzle indoors? Get your choice cuts delivered right to your doorstep from ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzeFamilyBeef.com.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Oh, here's Mike Clemens.
Packers place kicker Mason Crosby says although he'll be a free agent, he wants to come back for another year in Green Bay. Crosby says for the first time in years, he was surrounded by a good cast, like punter placeholder Pat O'Donnell, long snapper Jack Coco, and special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia.
Working with Pat and Jack and the guys in this room, and working with Rich, and he just lit a fire back into me to just push and keep working, and he pushed me every day to compete and do all those things. And I feel like that energy alone just makes me want to keep going.
But the Packers have been continuously working out other place kickers and keeping an extra one or two on the practice squad. GM Brian Gutekunst was asked why.
Ever since the COVID year, when you kind of had that fear of Saturday morning or Sunday morning waking up and one of your kickers or punters got COVID, we started stacking the roster, the practice squad with those guys. And I think now that the practice squad will stay at 16, I think we'll probably do that regardless from here on out.
Last night on Monday Night Football, the Cowboys place kicker Brent Maher missed 4 point-after-touchdown kicks, an NFL record, but Dallas held on to win 31-14 in Tampa Bay. Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady threw 66 passes in the loss as the underdog.
Sometimes you get lucky, but most of the time, the team that earns it, wins. And they played good all year. They played good tonight. They played well as a team. They were very coordinated. They played well on offense, played well defensively. They missed some kicks on special teams, but we just couldn't get enough done offensively to put any pressure on them.
Up next, the Cowboys face the 49ers in San Francisco. Mike McCarthy says the Cowboys' offensive line did a good job against the Bucs' tough defensive front.
They challenged us in the box, and we were still able to stay committed to the run game and grind it out. And defensively, I just thought we were all over them as soon as we got off the bus. I just thought our defense really set the tempo for the game.
I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
The weekend, the Glazers are the weekend treat, right? But you got the beer caves, which I will frequent, and then there obviously is the milk, and their milk is fantastic, and it stays fresh a long time. And bet you didn't know that Quick Trip processes their own milk. They do. They bring it in fresh every day. It gets right back out to you, and that's the reason it stays fresh for so long. But Quick Trip has got fantastic milk. So not only can you go fill up your car, you can fill up your fridge. That's our friends over there at Quick Trip. Check them out. Quick Trip. And don't forget when you're there, my God, use your Quick Rewards card. It's just that simple. because the rewards card always gets you something, or you're earning yourself points and such towards something. So good stuff. Let's get back to the phone calls. Talk to our buddy Paul. Paul, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill, thanks for taking my call. I'm going to put a little different take on this Aaron Rodgers thing. First of all, you were spot on after the Lions game. I took my son to the game, and you nailed it with, we need to go out and find this guy in Peru, wherever he is, and make sure he's committed. But I'm going to look at it this way. I'm tired of losing in Green Bay. I'm sick and tired of 3 times going up there and watching these guys not get fired up when they come out of the gate, and then waving to the crowd, telling us to jump up and down and get going. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care if Rodgers is going to be the quarterback or Jordan Love or you or me. I want this coaching staff to get these guys fired up, whoever the players are, so that we just don't lose our home games in Green Bay. It's sickening. It's just getting sickening. I mean, I'm sorry, you can tell I'm still upset.
No, I get it. I understand it.
Yeah, they flex it, Bill, to 7:30 at night, and then you come back at 2 in the morning, and it's like, come on, man. Let's show some passion. Let's show some fire. So whoever comes back, to me, I think he is coming back. But whoever comes back, I want to see some fire. I want to see some passion. I want to see some guys who want to win.
Right? Nope, I 100% agree with you. Appreciate it, man. He drops off, you get on board. 877-867-1670. Got a lot to discuss. Got firings, stuff going on right now. Got whether or not Rodgers will come back. I'm saying it right now. I'm booking it. He's coming back. Brady, I don't think so. Dak, out in San Fran. The best team remaining. We can get into that discussion. Mike McCarthy, do a little dance. Got the chains and the bling on. Do a little dance. Yeah, we got a lot more to get into. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this. Welcome in, one and all. Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show, hour number 3. Hour number 3. Good to have you. Talking about Rodgers, little Brady, Scott getting ready to head out to San Cowboys fans are all over me. How can you say that? They look like they're rolling right now. I'm like, look, what you faced last night is a rather inadequate Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that, much like the Packers, just simply didn't belong there, to be quite honest with you. Just didn't. And the for the overall, when it comes to, we'll just say the offense, okay, the offense for the overall of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When you talked about points per game, okay, just offensively, points per game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were what, I think 23rd, 25th, something like that. They averaged 18.4 points per game. You know who averaged more than them? The Washington Commanders, the Chicago Bears, the New Orleans Saints, the Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, all averaged more than them. The teams that sucked, the Denver Broncos, Houston, Indianapolis, the Jets, the Titans, the Rams, the Steelers, they were all right there with them. But that's how bad their offense was, okay, offensively speaking, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now you're going to go talk about an offense. Okay, let's talk about points per game. When you talk about points per game, offensively speaking, coming into next weekend, San Francisco was what, 6th in the league? They were 6th in the league this year. 26.5 points per game. Now, I give Dallas credit. Dallas was 27.5 points per game. Okay? 27.5. Let's take a look now at the defense. Oh, yeah, San Francisco gives up 16.3 points per game. Dallas gives up 20.1 points per game. It's not a giant statistic, but it is there. It is there. You got a team that can score and a team that can basically beat you up, period. And it is going to be a lot. So my point being, when you talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay gave up 21.1 points per game. Their defense wasn't terrible, but it was middle of the road. It was middle of the road. So you got them for 10 more points than they normally give up. But San Francisco, they give up 16.3. 16.3. You are going to have to do, Dak is going to have another performance like he did, just to be able to keep up with San Francisco. Just have that feeling. And they've got weapons too. Don't forget. They've got weapons too. So and you're playing in their house. Now I give them all the credit in the world, Dallas. I mean, they won on the road for the first time since 1992. It's the first time ever they had beaten Tom Brady. I mean, they dispelled a lot of myths. So kudos to them. Kudos to them. But I'm just saying it's going to be different. That's all. It's going to be different. It's not going to be the rollover that you just played. Just saying. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Would love to hear from you. I just don't think it's going to be easy. That's all. Isaac says, by the way, they look like the 2019 Niners defense. And I would agree with that. Cheddar Ball says, live stream today? Question mark. Yeah, we're on a live stream. I would assume you can see it. It's there. It's right there. There you go. I can see it running. We're good today. We had a little problem last week, or earlier in the week, but we're good. Cal says the Bucs fired their offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich. Would you bring him in right now? To do what? See, if I was going to bring in anybody, I'm going back for Nathaniel Hackett, because Nathaniel Hackett was not only a Matt LaFleur guy, but Nathaniel Hackett was also an Aaron Rodgers guy. And if Rodgers is coming back, also Nathaniel Hackett knows Jordan Love. That would be the direction I would go. And then I would, kind of shuffle around duties and such. Just My opinion, I don't need to run after Byron Leftwich right now. Not going to happen. 877-867-1670. This is from the Computer Cowboy that says, this is what you sent me, Ben. When you just sent the tweet out in the thread. Okay, I see it. The remaining teams comparing to prior Super Bowl teams, the closest comparison for each team. The Eagles compare to the 2012 San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers compare to the 2019 49ers. The Cowboys compare to the 2010 Pittsburgh Steelers, in which they ended up losing to the Packers in the Super Bowl that year. The Giants to the 2011 New York Giants, which was the year after when the Giants won. Then there's the Chiefs to the 2013 Denver Broncos, the Bills to the 2016 New England Patriots, Bengals 2004 New England Patriots, which was a really good team, and Jacksonville 2004 Philadelphia Eagles. That's where the comparisons are. So, okay. It's kind of a graph showing how close some of these teams compare. Interesting. Ben, who is the best remaining team? Is it the Eagles, in your opinion?
Who's the best, or who has the best chance to win?
Who has the best chance to win? Let's go with that. Who has the best chance to win?
I think when you look at caliber of team compared with path and the fact that they have home field advantage, I do think it's the Eagles.
Okay.
I put a caveat in. It depends on how Jalen Hurts looks when they take the field Saturday night and whether Lane Johnson can play through the injury, which he plans to do. But if those guys are playing to at least close to the caliber they did all season, I mean, they have home field. They play the Giants, who are an easier matchup than the Cowboys are for the Niners. And you go to the AFC, I mean, all of those teams, maybe except Jacksonville, you wouldn't be surprised if they made the Super Bowl.
Right.
So those paths are, and the neutral site AFC Championship, if it is Chiefs Bills.
Yeah, if it turns out
the
to
paths
be that.
are harder. So I would go Eagles.
Yeah, you've got an interesting set of games on Saturday. You got monumental matchups on Sunday. Then again, that night game on Saturday is a big one because you got Giants, Eagles, same division, two teams that don't like one another, not far apart. The Giants on the road at the Link taking on Lincoln Financial Field, taking on the Eagles. That's a big one. That is a big one.
The storylines, I mean, for all of them are incredible.
Yeah.
You have Doug Peterson versus Andy Reid.
Right.
Two guys that have taken similar career paths.
Well, they know each other too. I mean, Doug Peterson obviously being in Green Bay, having some familiarity with Andy Reid in that sense early on as well.
Well, Andy, I think, was his coach in Philly when he was the backup there,
and that
as
too.
well.
And that too.
And then like an upstart Jaguars team, obviously against the Chiefs. Giants, Eagles writes itself, division rivals and all that. Bengals, Bills, previous like the quarterback stuff, and then obviously what happened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then Cowboys, 49ers. I mean, Fox is salivating for that one.
Jeff says, where is the Super Bowl this year? It is in Glendale, Arizona. We'll be out in Phoenix. We land in Phoenix. I think it's on the 3rd of February, 3rd. And and don't forget, Doug Peterson coached under Andy Reid in Kansas City for a little bit. Yeah, we'll be out in Arizona on February 3rd. And then that week begins our Super Bowl week coverage, which is we leave on the 3rd, which is Friday, the 3rd, after we get off the air. And then we land. We're going to be out there setting up in the 4th and the 5th. So start following. If you don't follow us on social media, follow us on social media, because between Mike and myself and even Erica, who is our floor producer, been with us now, I think it's like 12 years. We post the hell out of pictures and sights and sounds and scenes and parties and whatever we can do. We try to do it and bring as much of that flavor to you as we can. But we'll be out there on the 4th all the way through Super Bowl. And then Mike will be out there a couple of days after and then be back home. So that's how we culminate our football season. So we're going to be there. But yeah, the game between Cincinnati and Buffalo, obviously just alone, the fact that Cincinnati got off to a fast start and then DeMar Hamlin collapsed and all the emotions tied to that game. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, DeMar Hamlin was not in the stadium this past weekend, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
I think this is the Sunday that.
Yeah, if you're going to bring him back,
bring him out.
this would be the one to do it. This would be the one. Because if you end up in an AFC championship game against Kansas City, you're not at home. You're at a neutral site somewhere. And now they've determined that's going to be Atlanta. It's going to be in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium down there. So that would be the neutral site game. So you'd probably bring him back at home to fire up your home team. And he probably would want to be there. This was the game in which he went down. So, and apparently for all the details that have come out, he's doing extremely well. I mean, it's not 24/7 coverage anymore the way it was early on, but apparently he's doing really, really well. And he's excited. There was this talk, they had to tell him to stop talking about coming back to play because now it's just about getting healthy and making sure your heart's good, but that'll be an emotional game. And then obviously which is I believe it's a 5:30 game. It's not a late game. It's a 5:30 game on Fox. And that's the Cowboys and the 49ers. The Cowboys and the 49ers coming up on Sunday night. So we got good football pretty much all day long on both days.
Vegas actually has San Francisco as the favorite to win the NFC.
I saw that. That came out, was it yesterday?
After last weekend.
After last weekend? Okay. I saw the numbers moved a little bit. San Francisco's favored in this game by 4, coming up against the Cowboys. Buffalo's favored over Cincinnati by 5. Philadelphia, that line's moved to 7.5. And Kansas City, that line is 8.5 over the Jaguars right now. But if you had to pick one upset, what would it be, Ben?
One upset?
One upset. One team that is not favored to win.
Ooh,
would it be the Giants, Cincinnati, or as much as I'd love to see the Jaguars do it, I just think the Jaguars are now overmatched.
Yeah, I'll be picking them when we do our picks to cover, at least, just for pride, because I pick them every week. But I would say Dallas. I think we still haven't seen the Brock Purdy rookie moment. Maybe I'm wrong to expect that it will come. But Dallas has the firepower on offense and defense to compete with San Francisco. So I think then it comes down to, within the margins, which quarterback does not make mistakes. And Dak has shown, the propensity to do it. So they could end up losing. But I still think Brock Purdy on that stage, I wonder how that's going to look. So I would take Dallas.
You're right, on that stage. If this was a regular season game, would you pick Brock Purdy to win?
Yes, easily.
See, that's what I think too.
He was kind of jumpy to start the game against Seattle.
Right.
And then settled down.
And looked really good. The one thing I will say is Dak played about as good as Dak can play. And this is the week where they're giddy. They blew out a bad team, but they blew a team out, and their confidence and their swagger is back. And just when you start to think the Cowboys are back, this is when they trip on themselves. And Dak is not playing a Tampa Bay defense by any stretch. And do you think Shanahan out-schemes McCarthy?
I think Shanahan out-schemes anybody.
The only caveat to picking Dallas would be the rookie Brock Purdy. That's it. That's it. Other than that, I'd probably pick San Francisco. I don't think as much as I'd like to see Cincinnati win, first of all, I picked Buffalo to win it all. And Cincinnati's offensive line is a train wreck. They basically shut down Jamar Chase short of being able to pick up first downs, but he didn't do much in this last contest against Baltimore. And I just don't see them winning in Buffalo. The Giants are going to fight hard. That's going to be a scrappy game. If Jalen Hurts is not Jalen Hurts and he's still got a little bit of rust, they could be that could be one of those dogfights. I might even pick the Giants to cover in that game. And then the Chiefs, Andy Reid's so good, but he's also facing his protege in Doug Peterson. So I think the Jaguars are going to cover, but I don't think they're going to win. There you go.
The tough part to me is when you talk about variance and what to expect from the teams. Like on Saturday, the Giants' best game does not beat the Eagles' best game ever. Like they the Eagles to kind of in a way or finds in. I think you can say the same thing about the Jaguars. Best perfect game does not beat Kansas City's. But on Sunday, the Bengals' best game and the Bills' best game, I have no idea who would win that when they're both firing on all cylinders and playing to their best caliber. I think you say the same thing about the Cowboys and the Niners. That's why I'm stuck on that. Like the Cowboys' best game we've seen this season, they could beat anybody. But then we've also seen what their worst game looks like, and it's bad. The difference is San Francisco doesn't have those worst games.
Right. You know what? Let's do this. Woefully late for a break. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show to get to. Stay tuned. We got more.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
This January, hit the road. The road to riches at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Play each day for thousands in free play and entries into the big $200,000 grand finale. The more you play, the closer you get to big money. So hit the road, Jack, or Jill, or whatever your name might be. The road to riches, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/road2riches. Must be 21 years old to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Well, good news. If you're thinking about going up north, getting away, I know after the season, After we get back from Super Bowl, we're going to take about the long weekend, I guess might be the best way to put it. Going to go up to the Four Seasons Island Resort. So if you're looking for a new destination, maybe a corporate meeting or a conference, the Four Seasons Island Resort, they have over 10,000 square feet of banquet space. That's huge. They have lodging, catering, all those activities. You can take your sweetie up there for the Valentine's weekend. You can check out the romance package on their website, which is thefourseasonswisconsin.com, which on the Muscano Island, it's just you, you're just there. You're just enjoying dinners and you're enjoying, a little bit of wine upstairs in the lounge, maybe going down to the Boundary Waters Bar and Grill and having some good karaoke, some good band music, acoustics, whatever it happens to be, a couple beverages. Good stuff. And the Chocolate Fest is taking place on February 28th. And that's when we're heading up. So we're going to be there. Chocolate vendors, drinks, ice cream, desserts. So if you like chocolate, you can head up there as well. Or they have now once again teamed up with Pine Mountain Resort. If you're looking to ski, they're going to put tubing runs in eventually. But if you want to go skiing, if you want to just sit at the bottom of the hill and watch people ski like I do and drink a beverage, you can do that. You can check out the ski and stay packages that are available. They have the condos, the rooms, the Famers bar and restaurant, which is fantastic. You couldn't ask for anything else. You can find that at Pine Mountain. But get a hold of our girl, Barb. Call Barb and just tell her Bill Michaels 15. You get the 15% off automatically. 715-938-5110. 715-938-5110. 715-938-5110. That's Barb directly. 715-938-5110. Make sure you tell them Bill Michaels 15. But that's Barb's direct line. Or you can just get a hold of Barb by calling either location, PineMountainResort.com or thefourseasonswisconsin.com. But terrific place. And if you're heading up that last weekend in February, we'll see you there. See you there. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. By the way, we are waiting. We'll let you know when it happens. But Aaron Rodgers said that he was going to make his appearance this week on the Pat McAfee show. So I'm sure he's going to have some things to talk about. I don't expect, people are already asking, what's he going to say? I don't think he's going to say anything of significance. He may talk a little bit about Tom Brady. He may talk a little bit about maybe last night, the end of their season. He'll reflect back. But I don't expect him to make any kind of an announcement. To be honest with you. So just, you can, pay attention to it, but we'll let you know if anything's said for sure. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And coming up on Thursday, by the way, Andrew Brandt is going to join us. And we're going to talk about what the approach would be to the Packers offseason if he were there and kind of the things that he's gone through and he's seen in his career. So Andrew Brandt is going to join us coming up on Thursday, which is going to be really, really good. Looking forward to that as well. ESPN Steve says, check out the Ghosts as long as you're up there. They do have the Spooks Inspectors thought at in Pembine, don't they? Yeah. I've never seen it. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. Just an FYI. But they do claim to have a few floating entities in the Four Seasons Island Resort. Phil says, how much would it hurt if Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl this year? I think that Mike's a great coach, but just says that the dumbest thing sometimes. I also think that Rodgers sabotaged that team to run Mike out of town. Oh, if McCarthy wins a Super Bowl? Well, let me ask you this. Are you rooting? Because it's the Cowboys, I would assume not. But are you rooting for Mike McCarthy to win a Super Bowl? That's a great question. Are you rooting for Mike McCarthy? Now, I think of many of you, and this is exactly what I thought. This is from Paul. Paul says, I could root for Mike McCarthy, but not as the Cowboys head coach. That's exactly my thought. So are you rooting for Mike McCarthy to win a Super Bowl? Paul, I think, speaks for a lot of people when he says, I like Mike. He was good here. I'd like to see him win again, but not as the Cowboys head coach. I understand that 100%. Joe says I was rooting for Dallas over the Bucks. And as Phil said, he says he has a legitimate shot if Dak plays like Dak and not like we've seen him play in the past. I agree with that too. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Do it. 877-867-1670. This one's, who's this from? This is from Michael. Michael says, no way I'm rooting for Mike McCarthy to win a championship. It would kill me to have him run out of town by Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers playing some of his worst football when we need him the most, and McCarthy winning a Super Bowl. Ugh. Yeah, that would be a painful moment. I understand it. But personally, I like Mike. I always have. I'd send him a note. Congratulations. I would be, upset the Packers obviously aren't there, but yeah, it would. What would it mean though? As David says, what would it mean for the franchise if Mike McCarthy wins a Super Bowl and Matt LaFleur, who has come close a couple of times, can't wrangle his own quarterback into playing better? Boy, that's a great question. That's a great question. I'd have to think about that for a minute. I think you'd have to look at it as, Mark says, what is Dak's number? Would he be a high-priced talent to win a Super Bowl? We talked about that yesterday. Anybody? Let me see. I don't know what Dak's number is, to be honest with you, this season. I know Dak's cap hit next year is huge. Huge. Dak Prescott this year is 8.96. 8.96 this year. He's getting paid $19.7 million. 8.96. Next year, though, Dak Prescott, he will be 21.46. So if you're going to win it, you better win it this year, because next year he counts almost $50 million against the cap. 49.1. You would probably see a few guys depart the Dallas Cowboys. What it would mean, it would be validation for a couple things if Dak won. I think, first of all, it would say that you have to put pieces around a quarterback. I don't care how good they are. You have to have a good defense. You have to have leaders. You look at a guy like Micah Parsons on one side. Obviously, Dak has Zeke Elliott. He has Tony Pollard, who has really emerged. They built a really good offensive line in front of him over the years, even though Jason Peters has been down. But you've got Noah Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. They went out and picked up, not that he's been hugely impactful, but T.Y. Hilton. And I really, look at last night. I said last night when he scored, we were watching it on the live stream. Dalton Schultz, man, I love that guy. Dalton Schultz is an underrated tight end. Zach Martin anchors that line. I mentioned Jason Peters, their big left tackle. He's been banged up. Tyler Smith, their first-round draft choice this year at the left guard position. So
Jason Peters has been banged up for a decade.
Yeah, this is true.
For the record.
Yes.
As a big Jason Peters fan.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep. He's always got something. But
he's like the only one that's old enough to have been playing football the last time the Cowboys made an NFC title game. Him and Brady.
Yeah. But you look at that, you got Trayvon Diggs at the corner, Bland at the nickel. Wright is back there. Not that Wright is fantastic, but you got Curse, and then you got Van Der Esch in your linebacking position. Micah Parsons coming off the edge. Dorrance Armstrong, solid. Hankins is a good nose tackle. There's DeMarcus Lawrence. So they got a pretty good defensive group too. They're not bad by any stretch. So it's not just Dak, and that's one of the things that you have to realize is that while Mike McCarthy has done a pretty solid job of coaching, it's not just Dak. You have to put pieces around him. Same thing with Brady over the years. Brady had good defenses. He didn't have great position players, but he just spread the ball around and had a good coach, and it was a great dynamic. You know, you look at anybody. I mean, you look at Joe Burrow. Where would he be without Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? You look at you go to Buffalo. Without Stephon Diggs, where would that offense be? You got to put good pieces around the quarterback. You got to be able to force. And this would be the year for Dak because it's going to eat up a ton of. Now they could always restructure that, but he's going to eat up a ton of cap space next year, big time. 877-867-1670. Mark says Mike's going to have to do the best coaching job he has ever done. Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, you've got to pull a lot of the right, strings to make things work. I mean, it's about being really good. It's about being, healthy and hot and lucky. And it all has to come together. Sometimes in the postseason, it's a matter of a guy just getting his ankle rolled up on and taking out one of your top offensive linemen, which is the reason, you got a team like Cincinnati that's struggling so bad. 3 of their starters, their whole left side of their offensive line's gone. Now their right guard is gone. So they've lost quite a few guys, and they're not coming back. So they're really thin up front. Again, we're talking about an offensive line that's getting their quarterback killed. You can say, Brock Purdy, obviously, will he become Brock Purdy? But at least he's got a team that's getting healthy with Debo coming back and feeling really strong. And after the last game said, I'm good. You get to Jalen Hurts, who's coming back, even though the Eagles have been somewhat banged up. Hurts says he feels really good. He's strong, So, and obviously what the Giants have done, Slayton wasn't a big injury in that game. He ended up coming back and playing because I thought once he went down against the Vikings that it would be a whole different story, but he played extremely well. Their secondary's been playing pretty good. Their secondary did a fantastic job on Justin Jefferson and company. So it's about being hot and healthy at the right time and getting a little bit of luck along the way. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And right now at Pella, you can go into 2029. 29. I'm got what? What? Yes, I'm not kidding. You can qualify yourself for interest-free till 2029. Get a hold of our friends at Pella. Go to PellaWI.com, PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. Whether it's the windows, the doors, entry systems, whatever it happens to be, whether it's outside, inside, roll screens, slider windows, all the innovations, the look, the value added to your home, it's all amazing, and it's all from Pella. And it is the choice of the majority of homeowners that are out there. That is PellaWI.com. PellaWI.com. Give them a shout. Tell them we sent you. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st. For 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. With maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Bill Michaels show continues on. Hopefully, you're enjoying your day. We certainly appreciate you being here, as always. And hey, don't forget, by the way, I was mentioning it a little bit earlier, that our friends at the Four Seasons Isla Resort, they have got their special events going on. And I had a Mark who had emailed me and said, hey, are you going to be up at Pine Mountain or at Four Seasons for the Chocolate Fest? The Chocolate Fest is at Four Seasons at the end of February. So that's where we're going to be, at the Four Seasons. So if you're looking to, if you're thinking about heading up in that direction, that's when we're going to be there. Going to be hanging out up there. Speaking of hanging out, tomorrow night we are going to be at Root River. Compliments of our friends at Bud Light. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Root River Center in Franklin. Myself, Mike Clemens, going to be there tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. And then coming up on the 27th, a week from Friday, plan on coming out and doing the show live with us. We're going to be at the Distillery in Grafton, Wisconsin. Coming up on Friday the 27th, going to be there we'll be doing the show there from 10 to 2. The doors open up at 11. And come on in, grab yourself some lunch. There's going to be some Bud Light specials. There's going to be some giveaway stuff. And then you get registered. We're going to be giving away a 55-inch big screen TV. And it could be, we're going to have it right there. So all you got to do is just throw it in the back of your car when you go to leave. And we're going to give it to somebody. That way they can take it home that night, install it, get it ready to go, and get it ready for the AFC and the NFC championship games coming up that weekend. And that way it's installed in your house, tweaked and fine-tuned and everything, and ready to go for the big game, which is the Super Bowl coming up in a couple of weeks after that out in Glendale, Arizona. But make sure you're there, giving away some stuff. But it's the first time we've done a broadcast in Grafton, I think, ever. We've been to Cedarburg a couple of times, but I don't think we've ever been to Grafton. It's our first visit to Grafton, Wisconsin. So come on out. Again, the Distillery, which they have whiskeys and beers and all this really cool stuff out there. But come on out and enjoy the day and enjoy us and celebrate with us as we get into championship weekend. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, do it. We'd love to hear from you. By the way, this one's from Summer. Summer says, I see you posted on Cigar Fanatics that you're looking for reps. Have you got a hold of any? No, I didn't. On Facebook. There you go. On Facebook, there is a lot of, as we all know, we're all involved in different groups and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But on Facebook, there is a thing called Cigar Fanatics. And we are looking for a couple more reps, not like places to buy cigars, but reps who rep cigars. And we've got, and I can explain, but I need to get a hold of a few people. I need to find a couple more reps. So anyway, there you go. Champagne 10th anniversary. Short. Really good cigar. And it was. The sound sounded pretty good there, Ben.
It was good. I heard you throwing expletives my way before I logged on.
You know what?
That was good.
And here's the thing, and I don't always do it, but think of this. When you are on just strictly, it's kind of like if you watch McAfee every now and then. Well, for a while, it was like every other word was an F-bomb. He doesn't do it nearly as much anymore. But even Rodgers has dropped some language. But over the internet, there aren't the rules and regulations of free over the air. So, like my program content on those streams, on those streams are it's not signified for children. And just for the fact that we just talk about a bunch of different stuff and really none of it is Dora the Explorer or Disney. So I figure we don't need to go in that direction for kids. So I don't. No way in hell am I rubbing down my relative. I don't even remember that. But so anyway, that being said, we don't necessarily drop the F-bomb or anything like that on a continuous basis, but it has happened. So yeah, every now and then it can leak out,
Yeah, stop by, try to get the conversation going on the live stream.
You
I know
did.
Grant Bills did as well.
I was going to say Grant Bills talked about Jimmy Buffett. There's no Jimmy Buffett paraphernalia down in the bar. There isn't.
Oh, about Travis Shaw too.
Yeah.
We had a long discussion about Brewer legend Travis Shaw.
Mayor of Ding Dong City retiring.
But yeah, then you said, oh, you know of anything effing better to do than hang out with me? And I must say at that moment I didn't.
Right. I was glad. I was honored that you happened to go, oh, look, and then dropped in, I still think the idea of letting the people pick topics, because I always say, look, you can ask anything. And it's a lot of the same stuff that we do on this show, which those things should be a little different, just a little different. And Brett says, well, you should be doing fluffer talk. But it should be a little different, than what we do here. Otherwise, you're just getting regurgitation of the same stuff. Happy to, if that's we do so much. We see so much. And, it's kind of like when we do those cigar dinners. You get the first couple of questions about the Packers or the Brewers or the Bucks or Badgers or whatever. And then people realize okay, you can ask this. And then they do. You can ask anything. So we've done a lot and been to a lot of places and seen a lot. And, so there's some things we can tell, some things we can't. You can't get out. But, for the most part, it's all good. Just go for it.
I have ideas if you need them long term, like an oral history of Jeff Banks, things of that nature.
Other than golf.
Jeff Banks is not a golfer.
No. I know that. But what I'm saying is I'm asking you a question. Other than golf, what else would you say you just want to discuss?
Air travel.
Or the goofiness. Okay, air travel is one of them. Terrible air travel stories. I have one. Going all the way back to the Super Bowl. But I think we've all been there, done that. Air travel's one.
Madison's public infrastructure.
Madison's public infrastructure. Okay. I do try to stay away from politics. That's the one thing I try to stay away from. Just because it's so divisive. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's used to be where you could have a legitimate discussion and argument on both sides, and you could both then agree that there are good points and bad points to your argument. And then there's a resolution and there's a compromise, and not anymore. It's like, if you don't believe what I say, F you, you're dead to me, and there's no compromise. And that's the reason this country's so screwed up. It really is. And so I don't even get into politics anymore. I don't talk about it hardly at all. I think some things are just ridiculous. Other than that, I'm pretty much up. I'll talk about anything. Craig says favorite TV sitcoms growing up. We can get into that. I get it. So there's plenty of topics. So I think
I don't care.
So I think I'll probably do another one next week. And what's really going to be weird is next Monday, no football. No football. Nothing. So maybe we do fill the void next Monday or Tuesday with that. Jeff says, what happened during the flight? It wasn't during the flight. It was prior to the flight. They had changed my time to get back. I've told this story before. I don't want to bore anybody, but I ended up reaching for a bin to put my stuff in and cut off the tip of my fingertip from a broken weld on the table. Yeah. It says Bill Michaels Unplugged, short stories from travels gone wrong. Oh, there's so much. There's so much. I mean, hanging out with Greg Cook out in Arizona the last time we were there, doing chicken and waffles in the morning, and the how do I put this? There was a comment made about a particular woman. She was beautiful, and it turned out to be the owner of the restaurant's daughter. The owner got mad, started throwing waffles. So, yeah, that was good. That was good stuff. Yeah, it was good. We had a lot of good stories. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break, come back. Coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Oh, here's Mike Clemens.
As the Packers wait for an answer from Aaron Rodgers, another veteran says he'll be back if the team still wants him. Place kicker Mason Crosby says although he's 38, he has no plans to hang up his cleats.
I don't have any plans on, tying them up. So, my plan is to, just kind of keep pushing and, kind of look at how I want to work through the offseason to, try to give it another go.
Crosby has been through 6 special teams coordinators, including Rich Bisaccia, since the Packers drafted him in the 6th round of the 2007 draft. Is he currently under contract? GM Brian Gutekunst.
Mason's not. So we're working through all that stuff. Mason had an outstanding year this year. Was really clutch in a lot of ways. I mean, he's performing at a high level for a long time, and obviously having Rich coming in and stuff, and him adapting to a new special teams coach for I don't know how many years in a row now. But he carried us in a few of those games. There's no doubt about it.
Last night on Monday Night Football, the Cowboys beat the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay 31-14. Dallas now heads to San Francisco to play the 49ers. After the loss, 45-year-old Tom Brady was asked if he's any closer on a decision whether to stay with Tampa Bay, sign with another team, or retire from the NFL.
No, I'm not. This has been a lot of focus on, this game. So, yeah, let's just be one day at a time, truly.
Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles.
Well, man, I'm going to sit down and have a conversation, and we'll talk about it at that time. So, it's not anything publicly that needs to be said at this time.
I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show continuing on. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free. Again, 877-867-1670. Our friends over there at Cruise Planners. It's more than just cruises, by the way. And Sand and Sea Travel. Sand and Sea Travel. Kirk and Jennifer Cantor, they do a great job. They have personalized travel advice. You can do domestic, international, ocean and river cruises, land, air, lodging, everything. They can put it together anywhere in the country as well. That's our friends at Cruise Planners. Cruise Planners. Get a hold of them, 262-344-0697. 262-344-0697. And I kid you not, you can be up in Duluth right now and call them and they can put it together. Right now, Kirk was telling me he's putting together a family reunion. And the person that got them together lives in Sheboygan, and called them. But they are bringing in people from all over the country to a certain destination in Mexico. And they're putting the whole thing together and guaranteeing it and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Kirk and Jennifer Cantor, great people. Cruise planners, 262-344-0697, 262-344-0697. Again, 262-344-0697. Get a hold of them. Coming up the next hour, we're going to see if Aaron Rodgers has anything to say via the Pat McAfee show. So we'll get into that. This was from our buddy John and Howard. Said, hey, Bill, one thing about running it back again is we can continue to complain about the soft zone coverage and the shotgun formation. Also, if that happens, I will officially call the 2023 season the dead horse season, as I fear that that's all they will be doing in 2023 is beating the dead horse. You were right about times being different. There was a time when people would dress up to go shopping. Now some people look like they just rolled out of bed dressed in pajamas with holes in them. That's John and Howard. John, you are correct. Yeah, there are people that actually walk through the mall. They're in their pajamas and slippers. It's like that's all the effort you have into your personal self, your representation. Yeah, better pray you never come to me the next day and say, hey, I'd like to get a job. I'm like, no, you're a slug. Take your lazy ass on back home. There you go. All right, got another one to come. Stay tuned. Hang in there. More coming up.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Wisconsin basketball team going to be back in action tonight against Penn State as they look to snap a 3-game losing streak. All 3 of those losses have come without Tyler Wall in the lineup. The senior forward has missed the games due to an ankle injury suffered against Minnesota 2 weeks ago. His status for tonight up in the air, but there is hope he'll be able to return. Wall is the Badgers' leading scorer and second leading rebounder. Wisconsin comes into the game 3-3 in Big Ten play, as do the Nittany Lions. Penn State's lost 2 of its last 3 games. Tip tonight set for 7:30 at the Kohl Center. Turning to the Bucks, they got back on track yesterday afternoon with a 132-119 win over Indiana. It snapped a 2-game losing streak, and they did it by hitting 23 3-pointers, helped them erase a double-digit second-half deficit. Drew Holiday led the way with 35 points, a season high for him. Giannis Antetokounmpo did not play for a 3rd straight game as he deals with knee soreness. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton practiced with the Wisconsin Herd today as he continues to rehab a knee injury that kept him out for a month. Bucks do play again tonight against Toronto.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Wisconsin football team back in Madison this week to start winter workouts. That includes the 13 transfers they added in the portal, along with the early enrollees in their 2023 recruiting class. In total, new coach Luke Fickell has added 27 new scholarship players to the roster since taking over the program in early December. And the Packers, in the midst of getting their offseason plan underway, one significant unknown right now, what the salary cap is going to be for 2023. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Hopefully you're enjoying your day. It's kind of a dreary, craptastic day is what it is. Welcome back to the program. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Sunset Grill right there on Pewaukee Lake. And they have trivia and karaoke coming up this week. And some really good food. So if you're just looking at stopping out, maybe checking out some of the games this weekend too, basketball even coming up tonight, whatever it happens to be, stop out and check out our friends at Sunset Grill. Remember them out there if you're making the trip around Lake Country on Pewaukee Lake. Our buddy Steve says, I totally agree with you. They look like a all and totally respect the player and the legend that he is. There may never be like him, and for his sake, I would rather him go out like this as opposed to going out via a injury. He has all the money he will ever need, as well as a standing network offer. He needs to walk away with his head held high with no regrets. I agree with you as well that Mason Crosby should do the same. He has had an incredible career with the Packers, but his leg strength is not what it used to be. Definitely a Packer Hall of Famer and earned the nickname Money Crosby. Lastly, can you please ask Ben what happened to his man Jordan Spieth last Friday? In his own words, "Oh, Jordan." Stephen Richfield. Spieth did not look good, Ben.
Yeah, it was a bad end of the week, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
I had a certain coin on Spieth to win said tournament.
Uh-huh.
He was one of, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 golfers in the last decade to go from first round leader to missing the cut. And he completely imploded.
Yeah.
So Spieth, not
Jordan Spieth. Remember when he won in Texas and then he won in Arizona, then he won the Masters and he was rolling, man. And you thought, oh boy, here we go. And we're always searching for the next. Kobe Bryant was the next Michael Jordan, and then LeBron James was the next Michael Jordan. And we're always searching for the next greatest thing. And life after Tiger, and here comes. It was going to be, Rory, and then it was going to be Jordan. And, we started, and nobody, Brooks Koepka did it. He had he kept it alive for a little bit, but he hasn't been nearly as consistent either. It has been this search for this dominance of Tiger. And before that, it was Jack, and you go back to Arnie, but nobody has really grabbed hold. Dustin Johnson looked like he was going to be solid for, this stretch, but nobody has really grabbed hold of it and said, I'm going to own back-to-back-to-back seasons. You know what I mean? When it comes to the world of golf.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible, frankly. It's just too deep talent-wise.
Right.
The guys are too good. I guess Rory's gotten close, but I guess a headline people might care more about. I am kind of self-aware that people don't care about golf like I do.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the Patrick Reed thing months ago, the $750 million lawsuit for things said on the Golf Channel broadcast about him being a cheater, allegedly. A headline this morning said he is threatening a $450 million lawsuit towards CNN's Jake Tapper and Bob Costas, demanding an on-air apology for things they had said.
What did they say about him?
It's not stated. Probably the same thing everybody else said, that he cheats or that he went to live. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where we are today.
Okay. In other words, you shoot for 500 million and you get maybe 5, and or it is so shocking that he's doing that people just shut up and quit talking about him. But yeah, he's just firing the big guns, the big money guns at anybody at this point, I guess.
People are wondering if he went to live to finance the lawsuits.
Possible. Again, because if you get a little bit of the money, you're getting that money back. Depends. Then again, what attorney is he got the same attorney for both? You would assume he does, right?
Yeah, and I don't want to go down this whole path, but his attorney is very notorious for losing defamation lawsuits.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah.
That the attorneys that he went with are like, yeah, you got a case, you're going to win. And then they take an ass whooping in court and you're like, man, I didn't know that would happen. Or it's like, oh, we've been robbed. What's wrong with America? We've been robbed. That type of thing.
He likes the lawyer specifically, I think, has lost every defamation lawsuit he's been part of.
Defamation is tough because you have to prove not only that you lost money, but that the intent was for you to lose money, and that the what they're saying is erroneous. And then it's based on opinion at that point too. It's not easy. I went through something like that myself and still do. And I did exactly that. And I got a very, very, very good law firm here in the state. And I just keep it open-ended, and, it's tough, but I got a lot of advice about this before I ever started to venture into it. And on that level, when you're a really, really big public figure, anything you do can be construed as that. So if you were caught cheating or you cheated once, you're labeled a cheater. There's nothing you can do about it, you know? Does cheater mean consistently? Does cheater mean no? Does cheater mean never? What does it mean? Do you have to do it 40 times, 10 times, 5 times? I mean, it's once you do something that looks or perceived to be that particular way, it's tough. It's when people say specific things about you that have never happened, that are kind of made up, that's when you can go after them. And that's what I chose to do. So it was, yeah, it's not easy, man, especially being a really out there public figure like Patrick Reed.
Well,
go
in
ahead.
fear of being included in a future lawsuit,
right.
I'm going to say no comment.
Right. Okay. I got you. Yeah, we got to be careful because you never know. We could be the next target of the lawsuit from Patrick Reed. So we got to be careful out there.
I think that would be good for the show, if we're being honest.
If we ended up getting, well, we could put it on Court TV. We could do the show live from there, from the lawsuit.
Oh, goodness.
You know,
are you kidding? I could read the defamation lawsuit like over and over again on air.
Yeah. So we could do that. Wouldn't be a bad thing.
Maybe that's what I need for my big break. I need to get sued.
Be sued. I can go with that. Yeah. I can go with that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Mark says, look what I found at Hobby Lobby. It's the big boy. Last night on the podcast from downstairs in the wagon wheel, I showed the sign, and I collect old eclectic tins, Route 66 tins and old oil cans and that kind of stuff. And growing up as a kid, I had the old tin of the big boy. Then it was ours in Cincinnati. It was Frisch's big boy. People know it as Mark's or Bob's or whatever, but he said he found it at Hobby Lobby. So well, good for you, man. That's great. Buy it, put it in the basement, put it in your bar. Great stuff. Awesome. This one's from Janice. Janice says, I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers go out like this, 3 straight losses at home. He needs to get a home win. I can see losing on the road, but playing this poorly at home just isn't the way you want to go out as a Green Bay Packer. Bring it back one more year. That's from Janice. Janice, appreciate the email. Yeah, we were talking about that. I can't imagine. I can't imagine doing that. And that's the way you want to go out. I mean, I don't know if Rodgers cares about that, though. I mean, I'm certainly there's some portion of you, of your heart, of your soul that says, God, I can't believe that happened. But I still go back to when they got beat last year and the year prior and in 2014. Those 3 losses in the postseason have to sting the most because everything was right there for you. Everything was. 2014 in Seattle, it was right there. They gave that game away, and that has to just burn in your gut. The game against Tom Brady and company, that game has to burn in your gut. And then last year, the offense playing as poorly as they did, Rodgers playing as poorly as he did, Matt LaFleur calling a game as poorly as he did. Wasn't the defense, man. Wasn't the defense's fault. Between special teams, Mo Drayton being the positive Pete, and otherwise a schematic idiot when it came to the special teams. I gotta think those 3 years. Those 3 years had 1 or 2 plays gone differently. Those 3 years put the Packers in the Super Bowl under Aaron Rodgers. He should have 3 more Super Bowl appearances. And really, I think 2014 they win it. I really do. I believe they win it. But those 3, there's 3 plays you can look at specifically. You know, and say the Rodgers not throwing the ball to Allen Lazard in 2 of them. Bostic going up and screwing that onside kick up. Morgan Burnett going down when, Julius Peppers told him to take a dive. You can look at those 3 or 4 plays and just say, had it not been for that, Rodgers throwing the inexplicable pick the team collapsing after the Aaron Jones fumble and going into a shell, play calling becoming predictable, not running the ball into the end zone and giving yourself either to the goal line or the end zone, giving yourself a legitimate shot at fourth down and punching the ball in. I mean, so many things that had you just done it right, you taken that one extra play. You're talking about 3 extra Super Bowl appearances. Now, what would Rodgers' legacy be? Let's just say he wins one of those. If he's got 2 Super Bowl rings and a total of 4 Super Bowl appearances, his legacy is dramatically different, isn't it? Wouldn't you assume it is? I would. Can you imagine if he had 3 rings out of 4 appearances? Because remember, the game that they lost in Seattle was an NFC Championship game. The game that they lost at home was an NFC Championship game. And then last year, they were the number 1 overall seed. You'd be in that elite upper echelon private club of more than 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, it just dramatically changes your the overall view of you. So I don't know. I would agree that 4 plays in this franchise's history, and Rodgers finds himself in a very different. Who knows? Rodgers may have retired already. He may have walked away after that San Francisco game last year. He may have retired. Because at that point you go, I've done it. I've done everything I wanted to do. I'm the most decorated quarterback in Green Bay Packer history. I'm in that upper echelon club of numerous rings. No reason for me to come back. None at all. He may have done it all by then. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. David says, I remember Rodgers ripping the field goal call against Tampa Bay on Jeopardy, for crying out loud. That's how bitter it is for him. I agree. I still to this day cannot believe that Matt LaFleur did that. I'm still stunned by that. But it all is also predicated upon the fact that had Rodgers taken off and run, things might be different. But it is what it is. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We would love to hear from you. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Kane and Kane Jewelers. They want to rock your world. They're in West Bend. Great jewelry. We all know Valentine's Day is right around the corner. You get out of Christmas, you're like, okay, didn't buy the ring yet, but Valentine's Day is coming. Maybe I won't buy the ring. Maybe I will buy the ring. Maybe I'll get some earrings. Maybe a necklace with a heart. Heart's on fire diamond. Something with an inscription. Cool way to buy. Check out our friends at Kane and Kane Jewelers. Let them rock your world in West Bend. And go to Kane, K-O-E-H-N, KaneJewelry.com, KaneJewelry.com. And Andy Kane does a Buy Like a Guy podcast. Guys, dudes, check it out. Because not only is it buying jewelry and the best way to buy and what you should look for, but he does other stuff too. He does bourbon tastings and whiskey tastings, and he does different things on there. Matter of fact, the other day he had a blooper reel where he sneezed really hard during one of the podcast episodes. So go check it out. Go to Kane and Kane Jewelry, K-O-E-H-N, KaneJewelry.com. That is KaneJewelry.com, and let them rock your world.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Paula's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry to get the 0% interest up to 2029 to book January 31st. Visit
Restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, pull.
Welcome back. Talked about it a little bit earlier, but thanks to our friends at Buzzard Billy's in La Crosse. Yeah, you know what? I had an email, and I didn't see it, and I apologize, but I didn't see it for months. And it was asking if we were going to be at Buzzard Billy's. I'll tell you what, the next time we're out in La Crosse, I will make a special note to say, hey, going to dinner at Buzzard Billy's. If anybody's in the area, swing by and say hello. And we'd love to see you. But my apologies. Every now and then, people get a hold of us in so many different ways. And Facebook is the emails, they get read, but they don't get read nearly as often. It's not the best to find us, but we do try to get to it. But I got an email, and I apologize for not getting right back to you because it did get kind of lost. Got lost in the shuffle. But I promise you, next time, Robert, next time we're out to La Crosse and we're in Buzzard Billy's, I'll make a special note to make sure that we get a chance to let everybody know we're going to be there. 877-867-1670. Uh-oh. Bill, breaking news. What do we got?
Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show on his decision, quote, I am not mentally or emotionally at that point to give one. Well, there you go. The news is that there's no news.
Which is exactly what we thought it would be. Right? Did we expect anything less?
Correct. I wanted to startle people.
Yeah. Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers says today that I am not there, basically. I'm either all in or I'm out. And he's not mentally or physically ready to make that decision right now. Mentally or emotionally to make that decision right now. Okay. So there you go. He did say that when he makes the decision, he's all in. He's all in. Doesn't that sound like he's coming back? I know it's I hate that because it's analyzing the analyzation, but I'm either all in or I'm all out. Well, when I make that decision, I'm all in. And okay, you're all in on what? All in on retirement? I mean, on retirement, you don't have to do anything, right? All in on what? I'm retired. I'm all in. I'm heading down to Big Boy. I'm all in. I'm all in on a Big Boy and a bowl of chili. That hot fudge cake looks pretty good. Might have to do some ayahuasca after this just to clean out the colon, but that's okay. I'm all in. There you go. Pretty much what we expected. That's okay. That's okay. 877-867-1670. Hit us up again. 877-867-1670. Find us. Great to hear from you. Love it as always. Our buddy Daniel and Toma listening. Let's go to Daniel. Daniel, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
How you doing? I had a question. Everybody blames Rodgers for this loss, but let's put it like this. When Jones fumbles the ball, and that's 3 years in a row in the playoffs, he fumbles the ball. It seemed like things changed. Number two is, why would you go for a fourth down on the 35-yard line? And you're telling the other team that you're no good. And that was the motivation, I think, that changed their attitude towards us. And all the years I've been watching football, I've never seen a player go up there and hit a ball when they're going to punt it or whatever they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Don't you think that was partially over the defense? And when that guy got ejected, I'm not saying it was right for what he did, but if you have a helmet on, you can't see right and left. I think he thought a player pushed him. He pushed him back. And what he should have done is gone, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Because the guy pushed him first, and then he pushed back. Do you agree with that? Didn't you see that, or am I just exaggerating?
No, I saw it I saw that. But he was backing away from the play, and he saw that the trainer, and Daniel, thanks for the call. He saw that the trainer walked in front of him. I just don't think he liked being kind of shoved out of the way, and took it upon himself to shove. So no, I agree. But you can't do that. And let's be honest, how many times have we seen somebody in any game do something, shove somebody, get in the face of somebody, say something to somebody, and then when the refs start paying attention, it's the retaliation or the second shove or comment or push or punch or whatever. The second one is the one that then draws the penalty. We see it all the time because they're not paying attention to it right away. It's after the attention is drawn that they then begin to pay attention, and then they go, okay, we're going to toss a flag. You get penalized for that. So I get it. But you can't shove a trainer. You just can't. You can't take that upon yourself to say, I'm going to just shove this guy or knock him down or whatever, So it is what it is. But I agree with you also when you say you're doing specific things in situations. Look, when you're going empty shotgun on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, you're basically saying my offensive line isn't good enough to get me 2 yards. I agree with you. Dave says, I believe with you, Rodgers is coming back. He says some of the topics for tomorrow's. Now, I never said I'm doing it tomorrow. You're getting things screwed up. I'm not doing the kind of the tell-all, so to speak, tomorrow. I'm not doing another wagon wheel tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're down at Root River. What I said is maybe next week we'll go back down to the wagon wheel and we'll do Tales from the Wagon Wheel or something like that. But he said just do some of the funniest stories on the road. I don't know about. There's some funny things we can talk about, some we can't. But Favre was always a terrific act, so to speak. Favre was always great to work with. We had some fun there. Maybe I'll tell the Super Bowl pudding story. Oh, maybe I'll start with that one because that involves a lot of people, including Mike Clemens. That's a good one. The pudding story. Yeah. And that's adults only. But that was down in Dallas back in 2010, 2011. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do stories from the road or something like that. Okay, I like it. Maybe we'll do that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Bill says, here we go. The Diva doesn't commit either way. We all know he is going to drag this out because every week we're going to pay attention to him on McAfee, give him huge ratings, and then finally he'll say, I'm coming back. You know why? Because $60 million is going to hit him in the pocketbook. That's from Bill. Bill, appreciate the email. Thanks so much. I said it all along. He's coming back. I believe it. I think it. I'm not going to say I know it, but he's coming back. If it wasn't, and again, here, this was part 4 of my 3-part argument from today. Again, if it wasn't about the money, as he said, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's not all about money. Then if it's not all about money, why'd you take so much money? Why was there the demand to take so much money? The quote, respect. The R word, as we all know, and it was stated this morning on Good Morning Football again, the R word, the respect word equals money. This guy's making that much. I'm better than him. I should make more than him. That's what it's about. It's not about the totality of what it is you have. It's about the R word, the respect word, money. That's what I want to know. If it's not all about the money, then why did you take so much? Why is there so much money sitting on the books? Why has the money then become the object and the crippleization of the franchise? It is about the money. Don't lie about it. Just say it. Actions speak louder than words all the damn time. Just come out and say it. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We would love to hear from you. Don't forget about our friends downtown. Calderon Club, San Giorgio. Great Italian food. Downtown Milwaukee on Old World 3rd Street, right across the street from the Hyatt. If you're heading down to a Bucks game, if you're heading to, later this summer to Brewers games before or after, going to be heading down to some of the summer festivals downtown, going to be going over to Marquette game, UWM game, Admirals game. Don't forget about our guys down there at San Giorgio and Calderon Club. They pair up the specials with Cider Boys from Point Brewing right here in Wisconsin. Great stuff, great Italian food. It's the best Italian food you're ever going to eat. You got to try it. Calderon Club in San Giorgio, downtown. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
This January, hit the road to riches at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Play each day for thousands in free play and entries into the big $200,000 grand finale. The more you play, the closer you get to big money. So hit the road, Jack, or Jill, or whatever your name might be. The road to riches, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/road2riches. Must be 21 years old to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I'll tell you what, one of the best sports bars in the state, not just in Milwaukee, but in the state. I love Stenny's, second to National Walker's Point downtown. And I've always told you they run shuttles to all the games and events that are going on in the Milwaukee area, Packers games, Badgers games, and such. But they are now bringing that in the area to Lake Country. They're going to be the old Boomers, which is, for those that are familiar with, say, the Milwaukee area, Brookfield area, there's Boomers, which is out on Watertown, and they're going to be opening that up probably in the month of March. They're shooting for. I know they've completely gutted the place, and they're building it back bigger, better than ever. But man, the new Stenny's, I can't wait for. So they're going to have their second location. Stenny's Lake Country is coming. Look for that. But until then, the traditional, the best, the cheers of Milwaukee is Stenny's, second to National Walker's Point. As they always say, Stenny's, you should be here. And believe that, too. Aaron Rodgers, for those that say, hey, Aaron Rodgers, you're washed up. You can't do it anymore. You look bad. You look old. You're only a step behind Tom Brady. This is what he has to say for you.
We're feeling each other out on offense, and our defense played pretty damn good. And a lot of people said I was, what did I say, washed, couldn't really play anymore.
Washed, yeah.
Wasn't the same. And then I won 2 MVPs in a row.
Yeah. Is that good?
Without really doing anything different. I'm sure there's a lot of the same sentiment this year. I have a lot of comments about a lot of that I'd like to keep to myself, or I'll share, off air, just because out of respect for the whole process, and just, some things don't need to be said. I think are more understood implicitly. But do I still think I can play? Of course. Can I play at a high level? Yeah. The highest. I think I can win MVP again. The right situation. Right situation, is that Green Bay or is that somewhere else? I'm not sure.
Oh, geez. Here we go. Is that Green Bay? I thought he was the one that said, I'm a Green Bay Packer for the rest of my career. Here we go. God, I hate this. Don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get me wrong. On one hand, it is tremendous for our business, for what Ben and I do here each and every day, for the 4 hours we fill each and every day, and what we discuss each and every day. It's good. I'm not going to lie. Let's keep it 100 here. But as a fan, here we go again. Rodgers had more to say. Take a listen.
But I don't think you should shut down any, opportunity. Like I said, during the season, it's got to be, both sides, like actually wanting, to work together moving forward. And I think there's, more conversations to be had. I think no player wants to be part of any type of rebuild. I said that years ago. Reloads are a lot of fun because you feel like you're close. You're only a couple guys away. This game is about relationships. It's about the players you play with and count on, even if they don't maybe show up huge in the stat book. A guy like Mercedes Lewis is an important cog in the wheel of the locker room and the momentum of the team. That's a guy I want to finish my career with,
Oh, geez.
If I'm playing, I want that guy next to me, I want the Randall Cobbs of the world, if he wants to keep playing, in my locker room. Guys you can win with. Alan Lazard, Bobby Tunyon, Dave Bakhtiari. There's a lot of interesting names that we'll see, their, desire to re-sign these certain guys who are glue guys in the locker room will be an interesting conversation to be had. Take all that away, I still, need to mentally get to a point where I feel 100% locked in and ready to play a 19th season. And if I do, then we'll rock and roll and figure that out. If I don't, then we'll go into the jungles for a while.
Oh my God. This is like a whole show tomorrow.
I'm going to cut those together again and just play them coming out of every break.
So in other words, if they, now here we go. So I'm kind of pissed. You said you needed Tunyon. You said you needed Bakhtiari. You needed Big Dog. You needed Cobb. You needed Lazard. All those guys he wanted. Those are the guys I need to win with. You didn't win. You didn't win with them. That's just it. You didn't win. And now he says, well, I'm going to wait and see what they do to resign these guys or bring these guys back. So, in other words, if these guys aren't brought back, you're going to hold the team hostage? Is that what the indication is? Is that what he's saying, Ben? Do you believe that's what he's saying?
I don't know if that will be the end all be all, frankly. I don't know if it'll hinge on whether they come back, but it could be like maybe not all of them, but the idea of keeping guys like that around. But the fact he always mentions them specifically makes you think that
Lazard,
it is about that.
He didn't, in the biggest moments in 2 games, he didn't throw the ball to Lazard. He looked at him and said, no, not you. I'm going to go to Devontae. Man, here we go. It's on ESPN right now. Breaking news. Rodgers doesn't know what he wants to do. Oh, my God.
As someone who started working in this market probably a week after this whole saga began,
yep,
I genuinely wonder what was discussed before this. Because it's been every day. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It never ends.
Is Pat McAfee in a Cowboy hat because of the Cowboys' win last night, by the way? Man. This is a whole other... We'll pick up with this tomorrow on the program, but he lost his I can win with them card. You know, and it just... It's a little ridiculous. Is there more, Ben? Is there more?
I'm still going through it.
Okay.
I don't know, but I'll if there is, I'll definitely have it tomorrow.
Yeah. It's I get the level of talent he has. I understand it. But I'm kind of pissed. I'm going to take a quick break. Otherwise, I'm going to say something that's stupid. I'm going to take a break. We're going to go step away. We'll come back, wrap things up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, here's Mike Clemens.
Packers place kicker Mason Crosby says although he'll be a free agent, he wants to come back for another year in Green Bay. Crosby says for the first time in years, he was surrounded by a good cast, like punter placeholder Pat O'Donnell, long snapper Jack Coco, and special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia.
Working with Pat and Jack and, the guys in this room and, working with Rich and, he just lit a fire back into me to just, push and keep working. And, he pushed me every day to compete and do all those things. And I feel like that energy alone just makes me want to keep going.
But the Packers have been continuously working out other place kickers and keeping an extra 1 or 2 on the practice squad. GM Brian Gutekunst was asked why.
Ever since the COVID year, when you kind of had that fear of Saturday morning or Sunday morning waking up and one of your kickers or punters got COVID, we started stacking the roster, the practice squad with those guys. And I think now that the practice squad will stay at 16, I think we'll probably do that regardless from here on out.
Last night on Monday Night Football, the Cowboys place kicker Brent Maher missed 4 point-after-touchdown kicks, an NFL record, but Dallas held on to win 31-14 in Tampa Bay. Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady threw 66 passes in the loss as the underdog.
Sometimes you get lucky, but most of the time, the team that earns it, wins. And they played good all year. They played good tonight. They played well as a team. They were very coordinated. They played well on offense, played well defensively. They missed some kicks on special teams, but we just couldn't get enough done offensively to put any pressure on them.
Up next, the Cowboys face the 49ers in San Francisco. Mike McCarthy says the Cowboys' offensive line did a good job against the Bucs' tough defensive front.
They challenged us in the box, and we were still able to stay committed to the run game and grind it out. And defensively, I just thought we were all over them as soon as we got off the bus. I just thought our defense really set the tempo for the game.
I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Come back this summer, and there's no better place to go than our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway. Great Lakes Dragaway, Union Grove, Wisconsin, down there the Racine-Kenosha border. And whether it's your own car, dragsters you want to watch, motorcycles you want to watch, the need for speed, it's there, and they've got it for you. Check out the 2023 passes going on right now and all the different events that are going to start to book up. That's GreatLakesDragaway.com. That's GreatLakesDragaway.com. They got a lot of good stuff going on down there. Couple of things. First and foremost, Chris Middleton, Giannis, all out tonight, not playing, and Serge Ibaka still gone. The Bucks, we haven't even talked about the Bucks. The Bucks are kind of a mess right now. Between the knee sorenesses, the guys that can and can't play, Serge Ibaka wanting out, and what's going on with that team. And it's just, it does not look like it's got championship metal right now. You better hope that after the All-Star break, they wrap their arms around this thing to make a stretch run, because it does not look great. It's not to say they can't win, because they can. They still have some of the most talented, one of the most talented rosters there is. And Giannis is still Giannis, but they got some issues, without a doubt. So, Ben,
I said going into the break that I was pissed, and I got to go through this again. This is Aaron Rodgers again talking to Pat McAfee today about, the contemplation of the future and what he wants. Take a listen.
Game is about relationships. It's about the players you play with and count on, even if they don't maybe show up huge in the stat book. A guy like Mercedes Lewis is an important cog in the wheel of the locker room and the momentum of the team. That's a guy I want to finish my career with, if I'm playing. I want that guy next to me, I want the Randall Cobbs of the world, if he wants to be playing, in my locker room. Guys you can win with. Alan Lazard, Bobby Tunyon, Dave Bakhtiari. There's a lot of interesting names that we'll see, their, desire to re-sign these certain guys who are glue guys in the locker room will be an interesting conversation to be had. Take all that away, I still, need to mentally get to a point where I feel 100% locked in and ready to play a 19th season. And if I do, then we'll rock and roll and figure that out. If I don't, then we'll go into the jungles for a while.
So there you go. First of all, I like the fact that he says it's my locker room. It's the Green Bay Packers, not the Green Bay Rodgers. And I think somebody needs to remind him of that. Secondly, as much of a leader as he is. Secondly, I know he says it's not things that show up in the stat. I agree with that. There are certain guys that are glue guys you got to have. I understand that. But you cannot dictate that all these guys come back when there's only so much money to spend. If you want everybody back, take less money. It's that damn simple. You have got this team locked up. You said it wasn't about the money. It's about the money. It's a lie. I don't negate you getting the money, because that's fine. Go, you deserve to get paid. But don't then say it's not about the money, because that's a lie. But when you have a team that is that committed monetarily to you, and you're making a good portion of the total overall salary, and they've kept everybody you wanted them to keep, you can't then dictate that you want more guys to be kept in that locker room, especially coming back from the season you just had when you said, I can win with those guys. No, you can't. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't win with those guys. You were sub 500. And in the game of your life for that particular season, in the do or die, in the win or go home, you went home. And you didn't even go quietly into that good night. You sucked. So don't dictate to people what it is you want on your pedestal when you're not winning. I still think Aaron Rodgers, tremendous player, gives you the best chance to win. But this whole thing of it's my locker room, I got to have it my way, I got to have this, I got to have that, and then I'm ready, then I'll lock in. Well, okay, so if you come back for the money, are you just playing for the money because you said it wasn't about the money? Remember when you said it wasn't about the money? It wasn't about the money, but it's all about the money because you're taking all the money. It's the hypocrisy and the lies and the little snippets here and there, and I'm going to be coy and I'm going to be cool and I'll talk to you off the air and this and that. You can't just give an answer. Be a man. That's what it's coming down to. Don't quit lying. And that's why people get pissed off. That's why they get sick of it. Again, Aaron wants to come back. I'm all in. I think Aaron is a tremendous quarterback. I think he's still, and he even just basically said, hey, when they wrote me off last time, I went back-to-back in MVP seasons. I think he's got it in him. I think he can play really well. Hell, I think he can win a championship. But this wears on people, man. You're basically saying right there, right now, if they don't do what I want them to do, I don't think I can come back. You know, that's it. That's it.
Man, I wish it was not 2:00 right now.
I know. Coming up on tomorrow's show, I will lose my ass tomorrow because I'm going to think about this and I'm going to play this over and over and over and over and over again in my head, and I'm going to probably lose it a couple more times. But that bothered me big time.
From the producer suite, though, I will extend a thank you to Aaron Rodgers.
Right?
Look,
I agree. I get it. I understand it. But man, oh man. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. It's just that kind of self-serving pedestal looking down upon the peasants because you know better than everybody else of what could or couldn't be. That guy changed. Okay, that'll do it. Time for us to get out of here. I'm going to go slam my head into a refrigerator or something like that, maybe into a wall, car door or something. And then we'll be back at it again tomorrow. There we go. That's it. I'm pissed off now. The rest of my day is shot to hell.